What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
All right, what's going on? Another awesome evening of Overwatch. We've got the semifinals for the NECC Collegiate Series underway tonight. And we're starting off tonight. I'm Yelkreb, he's Neely, by the way, but we're starting off tonight. So excited. Getting in with the finals rematch in our highest division, the Gladiators division. The finals rematch from the fall, Boise State versus Midland University. Already happening in the semifinals. We're going to have to get a different look this time around in the tournament. But Neely, what can you tell me about these two teams? Boise State, obviously a powerhouse, but Midland, they're coming at you with some surprises.
Yeah, Boise, undefeated up until this point. I think we talked prior to this, and they were able to beat Midland in the regular season last season, but then they lost to them later on, so could be looking to see some of that from Midland once again. What else we're getting ready to see? I mean, this whole meta has swapped up potentially. We haven't really gotten to see anybody play on it. Overwatch League doesn't play on it yet. Ladder's barely gotten a look at it. So Roadhog's better. We might be getting to see some Roadhog out of Boise. They play what's good fast, probably faster than anybody. So I'm very ready to see them pull that out.
Yeah, this Boise State team always does read the meta correctly. Seems like first week of the patch, they're on what's going to be good 3 weeks from now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull out the Roadhog. Orisa also had another massive change where her halt cooldown was reduced from 8 to 6 seconds. Baptiste's Immortality Field is less likely to keep you alive once it goes down. And Sombra got some changes too. There's a lot on this patch that we really haven't gotten to see because it came out yesterday, right?
Well, I think a few days ago, but either way, 2, 3, 4 days is never enough to really see what's going to happen here. If more Roadhog comes in and BAP gets nerfed, we might see some more Ana. Ana was already getting played in Double Bubble, which Boise was very, very good at running. I mean, most of these teams in the Gladiators division can run Double Bubble, so it's not like they don't have Ana in their pocket. It's going to be ready to play, especially if Hog's out there. If Hog's out there, we might see some Sigma, maybe some Wrecking Ball. We know Guac loves the Wrecking Ball, and Ball Hog isn't always the worst comp to run if you're running a big split comp. I mean, what are you looking to see here? I'm looking to see Boise come out strong on the first map, as they always do.
Yeah, they've only dropped one map all tournament long, and that was against Fresno State, who is still alive in the playoffs in this division. They're going to be up in the next game going up against UC Santa Cruz, but I am right there with you. Boise State losing one map in the regular season, pretty insane record. Probably going to come out and win control, and then it's up to Midland to find some answers. I wouldn't really expect Midland to guess the meta better than Boise. But again, on such a fresh patch, it's kind of anyone's game. Both teams seem to have a Roadhog player. Both teams also like to play Echo, and she got kind of a massive nerf to her ultimate. And Reinhardt just got that big general nerf too, as well, to his armor, I believe, 50 armor, right? Back to normal?
Back to normal. For some reason, they always got to bully my boy Reinhardt, even if he wasn't never that good. He was getting played a lot, of course, with the rush stuff, with the Mei Cree, which I wouldn't be shocked if we saw some of that. Because when teams are practiced on comps, sometimes they just stick with that into the playoffs. It's hard to be like, all right, let's relearn everything we do. But again, this is the Gladiators division. These players can play all of the heroes, and they usually know how to execute multiple different comps in multiple different metas. A lot of these players, are returning players. They know how to adapt. The question is does one team try to adapt and then be like, wait, we just got to do what we're good at?
Yeah, and to that point, Midland in their very last week, their playoff game against Johnson and Wales, who was a seed higher than them, they ended up breaking out the Reinhardt and the Sigma comp, which is what they won in the fall semester on, and they looked super comfortable on it, and clearly Johnson and Wales did not prepare to see that comp. They were prepared to see Ryan Diva, Ryan Zarya, maybe a full dive, but they weren't prepared to see Ryan Sigma, and they didn't know how to get any value with the meta DPS picks they were running. There was just too much shield up in the way, so that's something that Midland always has in their back pocket. Shatter plays the Sigma on that. He was our player of the match in their previous playoff game, reached 44-74 on Sigma a few seasons ago, and then apparently hit top 10 on the ladder this season on a different account. So that's a team that's coming at you with a couple of different frontline looks. And then Boise State, they've got a guy named Goblin. Cam, tell me about him. He's coming at you with some crazy looks, especially for how high this division is.
Yeah, the Torb, the Bastion, anything he can get his hands on. A little bit of Junkrat, I think we've seen. I've had the pleasure of getting to cast Boise a few times this season, and they're always, very fun to watch. They'll play hard meta and just do it perfectly, but then, Goblin here is kind of the X factor, might just pull something out. And I mean, hey, that flexibility can be interesting because not a lot of people are like, oh, I love playing Bastion in 4K lobbies. So, but hey, there's one thing that we completely forgot about, Yelk. Diva Remech now does 250 damage.
Oh my god.
It's
an actual bomb. It's a bomb after the bomb.
I mean, it makes sense. If that thing landed on your head, you're probably not making it out alive. So even McCree with his increase to 225 a while back, even he is going to go down if he tries to get a little antsy and not let her remech. So gotta, be cautious of the Diva remech, which is something I don't think anyone ever thought we would say here, of course. But you know, maybe a little Zarya Diva, get the combo going. No, I'm just kidding. There's absolutely
That
no
would
way.
be outrageous. But
There's
Orisa Halt and a remake we talked about,
Mhm.
honestly possible. Honestly possible.
Some 2 CPU defense setups you could see an Orisa, you know, an Orisa Diva. It's not always the worst look. Usually you'd opt for the Sigma. Sigma's such a good character, but you know, sometimes if they run like a lot of air stuff, you don't need the Sigma. You just go for the Diva. Diva's very good, has been very, very good right now. Definitely the dominant off tank in Overwatch ladder and in these league games. Just way more flexible than a character like Zarya, unless you're LTO, who just can play
He
anything.
can do pretty much anything, but Diva, to
Yeah.
your point, can really just get in there and mix it up with some mobile DPS picks too that are very popular. But I would love to see it if at some point in tonight during any of the playoff games we were on Route 66 and saw a Diva mech get a kill, and then I could say that I witnessed a real life version of a Roadrunner episode, and that just
Mhm.
kind of excites me that that combo is back in the game. But another hero that looks kind of better, I mean, just raw overall better, is Moira, getting that orb cooldown
Yeah.
reduced from 10 to 8 seconds. Although Reinhardt takes a hit and a lot of people think that Rush comps may take a hit, I think this Moira change could keep Rush equally strong in the game currently, but we're going to see here as we get into our first map on Lijiang what teams end up picking.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're always going to have to see them mess around and spawn here, play with our hearts a little bit. But either way, run. A lot of Pharah can come out on this map. A lot of Echo. Usually Echo is what they're going to be picking more over a Pharah type pick, but you can definitely see some double bubble strats in the open courtyard here. Or the classic, everyone loves it, just run Sim and get to the objective. I think sometimes on a map like Lijiang, that almost never goes out of style, no matter the meta. But again, we're just going to have to see what these teams actually pick. I usually feel like I know here, Yelk. I feel like I know what these teams are going to run, and I just don't.
It's one of those weeks where we're just not going to know. These first couple of teams are going to pave the way, hopefully. I think you're going to watch Boise State and Midland if you're another team in the NECC playing your playoff game tonight, and no one's sure what to play, but you're going to get a good understanding on how some meta comps could be played from watching this game, so that's pretty exciting if you're an onlooker, because this is the best of the best. This is the finals rematch Gladiators division, so you are going to see the nuts and bolts of Overwatch on a very raw patch where really no one is sure what to do. But just to get things started, we got Midland and Boise State both kicking out toward this courtyard side. Boise State running the double bubble dive comp with Goblin in the skies on fire, and Kel already beams down Sky, and Midland is on their back foot, trying to hide safely behind these two shields, make some space for Shiloh and what to get involved, maybe take down something in the front line, maybe poke down Glock. But right now, it seems to be pretty difficult as Boise State is just spacing out these dive comps. They managed to land the nade on Tenoro, and Plato gets in and takes down what? That should be Boise State securing the first point here. Very interesting look. Again, we see the Rhine Sigma coming out from Midland like they're so well oiled on, and then Boise State with a completely different look.
Yeah, as I said, you know, I didn't think I knew what these teams were going to play, and I think we almost called out exactly. Now we're going to see a quick swap over to the monkey ball comp. Very hard engaged dive comp, not quite like the double bubble comp. These two tanks are going to try to go in. Oh, no.
Man, he goes down to gravity, but don't worry. Goblin is in the sky. He's got this nano, hitting the direct hits as well, able to take down the hit scan Shiloh. Now there's nothing left to interfere with him up in the skies. Plato in on this off flank, has the pulse bomb in his back pocket. Not sure he needs to send it out, though. If he can just make good work of this Lucio execute, he does go down to him. Indeed, it should be Boise State remaining in possession of this point.
Yeah, that was a dicey fight. Both supports fell for Boise, but either way, they're able to dive that one out and stay alive. The nano boost going on to Goblin was gigantic. No better pocket than a nano boost for Pharah, and she gets all the work done with it right there.
And you can see just how far back Goblin is staying to, using that tower and using some serious range against Shiloh, not really giving him an opportunity to do any damage. And then Goblin comes in almost point blank, barrages down executing and takes down Sky with a direct hit before falling to Shiloh. That's more than enough, taking down Midland's support line. They're going to clean this fight up yet again. 63% and uptaking for Boise State.
Boise looking dominant as we expected, using ult almost perfectly, just needing a barrage with a bubble on it and a little Valkyrie to kind of pave the way for the rest of that fight. And Midland's just trying to get some ultimates here. They've got the high noon, could possibly take out the pharmacy, but other than that, it's looking rough.
And a very early grab gets thrown in over the shoulder of Plato. Kel launched that one, but it was able to find two, and now Midland again finds themselves without a support line. 89% as What and Shiloh both go down. I don't believe they're going to have any real contest here onto this point, but they begin to use ultimates. Noro pops that Primal Rage, and Chatter is there with the Wrecking Ball Mines. Boise State has to find some way to respond because right now Midland is getting a lot of valuable stall in. Plato has to find this Pulse Bomb stick, throws it up against the wall, but it does a ton of damage to Noro, and Glock finishes the kill. A slam comes in from Chatter and Kel. They both trade out, but it's Boise with the kills. Executy goes down to Goblin, still free in the sky. Shiloh can't contest. And Plato taking it in deep, getting in on those duels, bursting down Shiloh and Sky, finishing off what Plato is a menace with 3 final blows. Block helps him with that kill onto Chatter, but a clean round from Boise, just what you predicted, Neely. Is that the team that just right away knows that double bubble is going to always be strong, and if you can execute on it, they're just going to?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I always was kind of thinking going into this. I didn't say it in the pre-show here, but it was one thing that, you know, you talk with your friends about the patch, and I'm like, Roadhog's going to be good, but if double bubble's getting played, you have so many things to block that one stun. Roadhog might not ever even see the light of day here in NECC. But one thing that I noticed on that round with it was the backline was just getting taken out time and time again on the side of Midland. And, you know, maybe they could have benefited from having a Brigida once they swapped to the dive to protect the Ana, because that Ana was all alone, and everybody, well, all alone except for all the Boise members that were diving upon her.
And it seemed like a lot of the work onto that backline was being done by Goblin up in the skies on fire, and then finished off by Glock going in with late dives when resources were already expended. And we still have a similar look for Boise State. They will slap on a Reinhardt along with the Winston, and they ran the Symmetra to beat them to point. Goblin does end up beaming down Shiloh, and that leaves Midland again in a tough spot to start this one.
This is the weirdest double shield I've ever seen from Boise. I don't know if it's a meme or if it's a strat. I've gotten some work out of it in ranked myself, but the old Reinhardt Winston double shield comp. I don't even like calling that one double shield here, Yelk.
No, it is definitely a strange look, but it is a lot of shielded area that can come about. Right now, though, we're seeing very quick work of it as Midland does collect their 6th member. They roll in, and it's going to be Shiloh taking down 2. What does close the distance onto Kel. And whenever the Reaper can step into a Winston like that, it's pretty much game over. But Kel will stay on that pick despite what being on that Reaper.
Yeah, they just were able to rush right in there and get some good work done. They kind of played it slow, and then once they pushed the gas, they went all the way in, and they didn't have to use a single ult. They just won it in a neutral, which is what you want to see from a team like Midland after getting 99-0'd.
Kel goes in with a very aggressive dive, and Noro has to unleash a shatter that will find the confirm onto Plato and Goblin, but it's a 4 versus 4. Kel has to pop that Primal Rage, starts to juggle around Shiloh, but Shiloh with a quick little roll evades his grasp and still just battling along this outside. Not sure who's going to win this one. Kel does fall almost to half health, but Shiloh gives up on the duel, retreats to his team, and ends up falling. But Kel, again, we've seen it before from Boise State. He will get claimed by gravity.
It's going to be a reset there, Yelka. I assume it was a true reset, but even if it wasn't, we're going to say it's a reset. Goblin is onto this May off the sim now, and I think that's going to be a good look to try to get some wall picks. Going to miss it right off the bat, but now here comes the window, and they're going to just zone everybody away.
It is crazy how quickly Midland just disengaged, especially just considering that this flip will come through from Boise, but Midland doesn't seem to care. They know that they've got 60%. Boise just has 20, so they've got some time. They're in the driver's seat. Both high noons get popped. Plato tells us what time it is, but Shiloh trades with a kill onto him and the Diva Mech to boot. Rock will take down him in return. It's a 4 versus 4 fight. Beat drop used by Midland as they start to close distance. What is in point blank on this Reaper? And a double boop comes in from Executy. That's going to secure this one again for Midland. They come off of the disengage, and they will get this flip back nearing the end game of the second round on Lijiang.
Midland showing that they are no slouches. They just go right away from that window. They take the zone off. They'll give up the point, and then they're able to just, again, they play it slow, and then Noro just goes absolutely deep into the enemy team with the high noon behind him.
Wow, Shiloh just pieced down Plato. Easy little flick for the 2-tap, but it's still Boise State unleashing ultimate after ultimate. ACU found a lot with that amplification matrix, powering up the Broncos, and then Glock left a no-doubt Earth Shatter to get this flip back in Boise's favor, but they've got to make quick work of these last little stalling efforts by Midland as they reach 99% or just about.
Yeah, the cap is going to come over from Boise. It's looking good, though. They have to take that cap there. If they give it up one more time, Midland will take this control point, and a lot of ults on the side of Midland and none on the side of Boise. You have the Reaper, you have the big Shatter, and Noro's found a few already.
Yeah, Noro looking to make his mark here on the entrance. Block shield already starting to crack. Has to back up, and it's not there to block the Shatter. What comes in over the top with a 4-man Death Blossom? And that is an easy-looking team kill. Midland cutting through the Broncos like butter, and they're going to tie this game up here on Lijiang, answering a very difficult first round where it was indeed 100-0 Boise, but they are back in the mix. We are tied up, and we are going to Control Center next.
Well, you can already see it here, Yelk. If you take Midland in a brawl, Midland is very comfortable in that setup. They started with the Sigma. I think with the Winston, they initially were like, we'll just go Diva. Diva's a bit safer of a pick, a bit better for these rushdowns anyway, and are able to just kind of slowly piece that one together using ults well. I felt like on the first map, or the first control point, Boise just used their ults perfectly, and I felt like Midland was able to do the exact same thing on that point, just saving ults, knowing you're going to lose the fight, come back with 2, execute on it, and they absolutely did execute on that with the Shatter Blossom combo. It's going to find everybody.
Yeah, a pretty insane combo coming through from Midland right at the buzzer, and they were able to steal that round out. Now Boise, they've got the blow 'em up offense going. Goblin on that famed Junkrat, and Plato on the Doomfist. This is a team that's looking to explode some firepower right through these shields. And right now it looks like they're taking the fight where they want to, but Plato does go down early to Chatter. Goblin trying to find a pick in return, but it's 3, make it 4 Broncos that have gone down. Sorry, that was an immortality field, but you get the point. Midland coming out on top, and Shiloh up to task against Goblin on this Junkrat so far.
Yeah, Shiloh's looked good on all his hero picks so far. Obviously, the first map didn't get to see much of what he could do, but doing some work on Kree, and now he's onto the Junkrat. Junkrat is so good on these tight choke points. When you lose the first cap, it's so hard to push into a Junkrat here, Yelk.
It really is. You can charge up that Riptire so quickly, and you can see him trying to do just that right now. The Coalescence pop from Sky buys him some time. Goblin comes out with a Riptire that nobody is ready for. It finds Noro, it finds what, and the Broncos with a head full of steam are trying to burst onto this point. There's really nothing that can stop them. Shiloh coming up on that Riptire, but the Broncos should be ready for it. Here it comes now. Cal able to find a quick 2-piece. That keeps the Broncos' momentum going here. The Riptire never ended up getting used there by Shiloh. Not sure what happened. It looks like Midland just looking to concede this point and come back at them with some more heavy-hitting ultimates.
Goblin just did his job right there. You know, basically did what we have already talked about with how he's a crazy Junkrat. Even though they lost that fight, he charged that Riptire so fast. Shiloh was only at 80% when Goblin popped his Riptire, and it was all done about the Cryon after that tire.
Now the Broncos will look to hold here with a couple of combos of their own. AC does have that amplification matrix, but Shiloh, the first one to use an ultimate, rips the tire but goes down while he's standing still. The tire is enough to find the front line. When Glock goes down, the supports fall shortly after. And Midland gets the flip back at around 40%, and now they just have a Diva Bomb to hold here.
It's seeming like this Moira is helping engage Midland into these fights much faster than Boise can. It seems like Boise just gets rushed into, and Midland just kind of they just don't let off the gas at all. They just go all the way in. But right now, Goblin's on a big flank, and I'm not sure what he's doing.
Well, here comes the Diva Bomb. High fly ball straight away center field. Does a ton of damage in on the Shatter, but in the end, it's going to be what? Coming over again with another huge Death Blossom. That Diva Bomb from Chatter really zoned out everyone, and then no one was left in a very safe spot to cling to their health bar as what just started to delete it with that damage rose.
Hello there.
Yeah, Midland's just throwing straight fastballs right now. You talked about the high fly ball, but Midland's all fastballs right now, and Boise State's getting caught looking right now.
Boise State's going to have to make something happen. Kel goes down, but so does Noro. Both teams playing without a tank. What clinging to his back line, but in the end, will go down as Guac connects the pin onto him. The Broncos just fighting for their lives here, trying to keep it in this first map as they go for the flip Plato onto the point. No one from Midland contesting this one right now. The flip should come through, but a very far away fire strike from Noro beyond the 3rd-point arc. Follows it up with a Shatter, and that's going to find Chatter and Noro as well. Man, this Midland team, they don't go down easy.
They don't want to give up, but I do feel like Noro's going to want that shatter back for the next fight. Either way, he's going to get another one because they have all kinds of time to win one fight. That is all Midland has to do to take this first map away from Boise. But Boise has all of the ults, and if they can play them properly, they could easily shut Midland out of this control center.
They could. I do see pretty much everyone on Midland charging up their ultimate by the time this round is over, but things are opened up here by Shatter throwing in the bomb over the top, able to find Goblin, but it's going to be Midland that drops 4 picks to the Broncos, and the hold should remain. But Guac did use that Shatter. Plato did also use that DPS ultimate. Now the Broncos, Cam, they don't have very many ultimates in the game.
Do not have very many ultimates, and Shiloh is at 90% on this Riptire right now, and that could be the icing on the cake. If this finds almost anybody on Boise, they've been targeting out Guac every time, but it's going to be the key to the fight here.
Plato trying to make some moves in on the back line, being a slippery target to kill, gets that mini health pack, dodges a trap, and Shiloh does end up going down. Guac, though, had to go awfully far in for that kill, and he will fall to Noro. What? Playing to a very low HP bar onto the point will fall to Plato. Good DPS control around the objective from the Broncos. They've got Goblin and Aceu up on this right side where the mega health pack is, and they're relatively uncontested in that position.
Finds the ults online for Midland, but they're gonna have to make it to the point. A Goblin might be able to shut him off with a Riptire here. Not even gonna make it first round, going over to Boise. God, my brain actually shut off for a second right there. My apologies.
Back and forth.
Yeah. Woo. I think I just wanted to say Midland really bad. I wanted to see the kind of the upset come out here, Yelk.
This is the huge boot from Executi to take down Goblin and Guac. Pretty much enough on its own to get them the point, but will also melee down Aceu as well. Very good play from the Midland support right there, but the map does go the Broncos' way. 1-0 after Li Jiang. And pretty interesting look. Midland look like they came very well prepared for this game. They've played multiple comps so far, and Boise has really given up nothing. They've played strong comps that they've played all season long, but they do look beatable today.
They do look beatable, but I do know that I feel like they have a lot of confidence. I do think they got a little bit surprised here by Midland coming out. Plato coming out on that Doomfist. I think once he switched over to the Reaper, it kind of was able to give Boise a little bit more leeway, you know, because Guac was under so much pressure from Midland just rushing in. If you at least have a Reaper inside your team, Noro has to slow down a bit if he takes a couple big shotgun shots from Plato. So I think that kind of evened up the game a little bit, because if Doomfist isn't popping off, he's not doing very much.
Yeah, he's not. And in return, What was just doing so much work. It's going to be difficult to say his name all match long and not have it sound confusing, but on the Reaper, he was doing an insane amount of work, especially with Executi amping speed boost for those Death Blossoms. That was turning him from 3-mans into 5-mans as those extra targets got in range. And then Noro pretty much had his Earth Shatter timed up with all of those Reaper ults to just have that combo ready. So interesting to see what these teams run in terms of comp. And then when it is a weird comp like Reinhardt Sigma with a Reaper, how do you combo those ultimates? And we're kind of seeing it from both teams right now. How Midland chooses to do it, and how Boise is going about it so far.
Yeah, it seems like Boise is sticking with that Baptiste pick a little bit more, and Midland's all in on this new Moira buff, the 8 to 6 seconds. What was it was 10 to 8.
10 to 8. Yeah.
10 to 8 on the orb cooldown, which is huge because it's just more healing or more damage. Either way, you're going to be farming your ult just that much quicker. It's just a raw buff. And, you know, we kind of got to see what Midland could do with that extra aggressive playstyle. And Moira really does play into that. Baptiste, you're kind of playing a little bit more defensively. You can rush in, but you're usually playing to hit a big immortality that kind of swings the fight over a character like Moira.
Yeah, and I think she is in a spot in the game now where her orb can give her the resources to maybe out-tempo a Baptiste throughout the course of a round. But we were seeing Aceu just sitting on those immortality fields, and they had to. With the DPS ultimates we were seeing from Midland, the Reaper ultimates, the Riptires coming out, you have to have that immortality field ready. And what is it, 25 seconds? It seems like the DPS ultimates were coming out so fast where there was always one that Aceu couldn't be prepared for. But at the same time, Midland is relying on a beat drop, which is available much less frequently.
Yeah, and with the new BAP changes here, BAP does less like area of effect healing. If he hits the direct target, he'll do 80, But if he hits it next to you and it does the AoE, I believe it's 40 or 50. I would have to check the numbers again. All I know is it's lower than it was before. So that, again, playing BAP it with Rush is going to be more difficult. And that is basically Moira's whole kit, is that I heal the whole team at once. I dump out heals as fast as I can. I do run out of that resource, but hopefully with how Midland takes these fights, the fights aren't going to be long enough to where Moira's going to run out of those resources. And you have another orb coming online so quickly.
Yeah, that orb coming online quickly really does give her that resource. When she might typically be out of it for a span of 3 seconds, that gets her right back in the fight. Orb does an insane amount of healing, or can even finish off targets very well. But just to get back to those changes on Baptiste, since he's been in the meta for so long, like you said, direct hits, the health you get is increased from, I think, 50, which is what it's at when you miss the target, but it's close, and it's up to 70 now. Not 80. 80
Not
would
80.
be a little insane, but 70 is still a good
Yeah.
buff for Baptiste that are hitting shots, and ACU definitely one of those.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Everyone in these divisions they're hitting their shots. It's very apparent that when they do their job, they do it rather well. But that was as close of a round as we were going to get. It looks like we're going to be going over to King's Row here, Yelk. Everybody's favorite little scrims row. Everyone just always, what do you want to play? Let's play some King's Row. Everyone loves it. Probably going to get to see more brawl from both these teams. I was curious if we saw a different style of hybrid map. Maybe we get to see more dive. I don't think anyone's picking Numbani. I think if Boise lost, maybe they would have, but you never know. I feel like anytime Boise gets to play double bubble, they are a very happy team because they were dominant on that pick.
Yeah, and in the playoffs here, the team that isn't picking the map does actually get to ban one map from that game mode. In the fall finals, Boise State got whooped pretty bad on Hollywood when it was time to go about hybrid, and Midland, they're not going to have that option to pick that. Boise was extremely quick to ban it. It took them about 10 seconds after asking what hybrid map they would like banned to say Hollywood. But Midland coming at them, I think, has a pretty good lineup for Rush. Noro is pretty much the Rhine god in this lobby. Guac plays it a lot, especially when he's with Boise, but I think Noro is more comfortable on that hero. But Kel and Chatter, I think we're going to see the Sigma from Chatter. I think we're going to see a Zarya from Kel. I'm interested to see which one looks stronger, especially in such a high-ranked game.
Yeah, I do find it odd that you are able to get value out of a character like Zarya sometimes. I mean, usually you only get it in the double bubble. You don't see it much with Ryan Zarya, but Zarya's in such a weird spot. But the bubble is enough for someone like Winston to take a lot of advantage of. So either way, Kel does a really good job on that character and rotates with their supports really well, because that's all you can really do on Zarya sometimes. You kind of just wait around, find your spot, and then you kind of maybe try to get some picks. Kel, I mean, he got the first pick on Control that basically won them the point in the map for the bridge. What is that, Gardens? My apologies.
Yeah, Gardens. No,
Gardens.
It's okay. Whenever we're playing like ranked, we always call it bridges, so I'm right there with you.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
Fire comes out, it's a nightmare. But either way, Goblin showing that he can play a different blow-em-up character of Far. I'm sure we've seen it already this season, but Goblin showing off some of the characters that we talked about. No Bastion yet, though, but if there's anything I know about King's Row, Yelk, there's a statue.
He goes to it third point. No. He goes to it third point. When you least expect. On attack and defense, he breaks it out third point very frequently. I think I've seen it 3 different times this season where on defense, he'll come out on it, and it's just so much when you're rounding that like second to last corner, and then on offense, he'll just go out and take that high ground. You get right out of spawn and pretty much make free space for his team. But he doesn't usually play that hero when you would expect him to, like you were, I think, alluding to the King's Row statue. Just throw him up there, see if it works. I don't think we're going to see him do that.
It's my favorite strat. No, I actually hate it when my team wants to run it, but it's a funny one. We all did it once back in the day, and it just lasers everyone down because nobody's ready for the Apache helicopter that is Bastion. But yeah, like you were saying, if he does pull out Bastion at strange times, he gets the most value when you're not expecting it, to be fair. So if that's when Goblin pulls it out, that makes the most sense to me. When you're just like, oh, we're going to rush into this team normally hard, and then all of a sudden there's a Bastion just shooting you, you kind of go, whoa, and you got to get a little wake-up call there. But it's looking like he's coming out on his patented Torb. He's just trying to hit all the heroes on his list here, Yelk.
Yeah, what's he at already? Like 5 different heroes played after pretty much one map going into King's Row. Really interesting look, and I also like what I'm seeing from Guac on the buffed Orisa with the increased halt. Will it be enough? to break through the shields of Midland. They're going to be on that patented Reinhardt Sigma, and I think it's going to work very well for them, especially up against this comp. Boise might not be able to poke down these shields in time.
I do love this hold, though, coming out from Boise on the defense, holding this high ground, just forcing Midland to kind of kite around and touch this point. Kel will be the first touch that they're going to use to kind of try to stall this point out.
They've bunkered up well, already taking a tick, doing exactly what they had to do, which is play directly under the Broncos, who will not give up that second tick so easily. They managed to get down a contest, but HP is awfully hard to come by on the side of Boise State as they're taking down 2 at a time. It seems like Midland in full control of this. I liked how the high ground defense looked in theory, but Midland just showed us exactly how you just dissect it. They walked right under it. Boise State didn't have the angle to shoot down at them, and Midland bunkered up so strong with those 2 shields. Boise didn't have the poke to get any damage through.
Absolutely. That's my favorite call out when there's a high ground hold. When you want to force Reinhardt, you just go under them, just hide under them, force them to drop, because when they do, your comp is built way more to deal with that dropping comp. Arisa does not do well when toe-to-toe with a Reinhardt.
Yeah, that comp definitely designed to be up there and stay up there. Noro sends the fire strike through the window beyond the 3-point arc, but this time no extra points are awarded. Shiloh does take down that immortality field, so AC will not have that crucial cooldown going into this fight. And Midland is starting to come up on some ultimates, but Kel makes the most of that space made by Plato's Bob thrown into the mid-fight and rockets through 3 quick kills. It seems like all of this Boise team is playing very compactly, and they've got their brawl comp in order now.
Yeah, Kel was playing a little whack-a-mole right there with Midland, just bopping everybody on the head with the melee. What you got to do on Diva, it's a good way to stop yourself from boostering into them as well. Can kind of get a little finish up, but Kel also going to have this bomb here. Going to be very good to use right around the corner of bookstore. Not a lot of places to hide except for in that bookstore. But window going to be coming out early and a pick onto what from Asu. Great surprise window put right on the main street of Kings Row here.
Boise definitely stepped up with a lot of aggression on that defense, and they're going to keep the momentum going as Goblin was rocked out of that Molten Core. It seems like he got enough of it down to zone off Midland for now, and that's what they're going to rely on as Boise State. They're down a pick. They're looking to get back in it. Guac lays down the slam, and that will buy them 3 kills and another defensive hold here on street space.
This is a fantastic spot for Boise to hold. It looked like they might get rolled a little bit. When you have to swap to the Rhine, you lose a little bit of ultimate charge, and there weren't a lot of ultimates built from Boise, but they're able to fight back and take it with that bomb, and now they get this close hold on bookstore.
And Kel is just itching to line up this Diva Bomb. Bob gets thrown in again by Plato, who seems to have those on cooldown. Immortality Field thrown out, beat drop used by Execute, and now Kel has an opportunity for this Diva Bomb, but instead, just going to stay behind this window from AC for a little bit. That bomb gets stuck on the bookstore corner, doesn't make its way around, and it will not find any kills. Instead, what comes through with a Death Blossom that knocks everyone on the Broncos low except for Kel. Kel does the most he can to stay alive on this point, maybe get a kill or 2 in contest. The beat drop does come out from a large bagel to keep him alive through his efforts, but they're not able to get that kill, and Midland steps right back into the fight with tons of momentum. It's looking like Noro swings through everything. Shiloh pops that high noon to finish it off, and they are nearing this final fight here on street space.
No one's going to try to stagger Kel there. You do not want to face a remech in the center of your team by accident. It's a bit startling now with the 250 damage. You don't want to lose anybody.
I forgot about it already. You could have found 3 right there.
Yeah, well, they dealt with him immediately because no one wants to deal with that window coming out very early. Defense Matrix going to eat up a lot of that, but now they're going to have to touch into this window. Torvald trying to fly out, trying to find some part of this objective here.
They will take down Kel. It's an entire effort by this Midland team just to take down that Diva. What does go down to Goblin, stepped in the Molten Core for a bit, and then was finished off, and that is a humongous slam from Guac. Laid down 5, and the rest of Boise State just stepped into easy headshots.
That's a Kings Row shatter right there. Not a lot of places to go. The streets are about the size of that fan out from the shatter, and it's going to find a lot of people if it finds anybody, but a lot of ults here coming up from Midland, both tank ults and the beat drop from Execute, but could be fended off here by Asu's window. He's had a lot of good windows so far, and it is something that can just stave off the aggression from Midland here. Rotating around right now as well. Interesting look here.
sure what we're going to see from what could be the final Midland assault on this second point. They've got the ultimates to make it work. They've got to deal with Plato on this off angle. Plato in a very tough spot to contest as they look his way. Goblin's turret finds a kill through the window onto Execute. You would love to have that Lucio back in the fight. You were probably planning to use that beat drop to keep you in it. And one by one, kills are still traded out. No victor of the fight yet. Shadow's bomb gets thrown over top as Plato and Shiloh both fall. Now there's no front line left. Nora lays down the slam with an opportunity, and he goes right up to that Baptiste, but Sky stays alive somehow, as does Ace. Both teams running the Baptiste Lucio. Kel's bomb, and the remake finds Execute. Kel's done it. Takes great use of the buff. Keeps Boise in this fight. They're clinging to a meter on street space, and it looks like they just might hold it.
Well, Diva's got a new ultimate, Yelk. There's Bomb, finds the Baptiste up top, runs into the center of the team, and is going to locate another one with the remake. That's basically a Doomfist ult now. A little bit riskier than Doom's ult, but still, not just as powerful. It's pretty close, though. 250, finds the Lucio, swings that one back. Huge play from Kel. Possibly the first remake kill in NECC so far, at least on stream.
Definitely the first one on stream, at least as far as the new buff. I've probably seen one that was just a couple of HP worth of damage right now. Tons of DPS ultimates get traded. Beat drop used by Execute and a large bagel to keep everyone safe, but it doesn't look like Midland is very safe right now. Completely zoned off by not just Bob, the big Omnic Butler, but also that Molten Core from Goblin in a pretty uncontestable spot on that high ground off to the left side. And that is just going to be enough to zone off Midland. Boise was looking pretty shaky after that first point. Didn't have a great defense. Tried setting up on the high ground, doing some cheeky stuff. Midland made him pay, but Broncos locked down that second point.
I really liked how Boise stuck with their DPS on that whole defense. Plato just had Bob every single fight, and that's just a great tank to just toss in there, create so much space, doesn't miss. Hey, wait, Yelk. It's the 8-man comp. I just realized that the 8-man comp, the Torb turret with the Bob. Kept Goblin on his signature pick as well of Torb.
Promote two things that don't miss, Torb turret and a Bob. I mean, there's pretty much 8 directions worth of damage coming at you anytime that Ashe uses her ultimate. And you were right, Plato did seem to have it on cooldown. There were back-to-back-to-back fights where Bob was used. And anytime you're getting that from your Ashe player, especially on a tight, close quarters map like King's Row, that just really opens up what your tanks are able to do.
And no pocket, which is very impressive because I would say most anytime you see Ashe played, there's always a pocket involved, especially if they're charging their ult that quickly. Charging their ult that quickly, no pocket.
I feel like a lot of what could have been helping that too was ASU had window in nearly every fight. They're getting their ultimate quicker because they are one of those Baptiste players who hits those directs. So they're in full benefit of the Baptiste buff. Throwing up windows every fight makes it pretty easy for Ashe to just click stuff one at a time, probably getting 9 ult charge with every bullet she hits to the body. That could have been what was doing it, but you're right. No pocket committing to an Ashe. Pretty impressive from the Broncos. And now we're going to see both teams still opting for a Reinhardt, but Boise does slap on that Pharah and the Doomfist block. Definitely overstepped his bounds there by that statue. Boise State has a rough first look at this point, but they'll go again, no problem.
Yeah, Guac, even though he's going to fall there rather quickly, he's doing a very difficult job here on Brian. The comp they are playing is not designed around them. As I say, that Plato's going to switch to the Mei to help Guac out a little bit, but Guac's job is basically to stand there, kind of be a front line and move in slowly. He doesn't have speed, and his DPS are one of them's flying in the sky, and you're just kind of waiting for that poke to come in while Midland is rushing in on you.
And this is one of the few points in Overwatch where we could really see this Midland comp shine that's taking advantage of that motor buff. Just a 2-second tempo increase to this brawl every single fight. Sky already sitting at 75% to that Valk, but goes down to the pocketed Goblin early. That ruins this comp when there's no motor left, and Midland will fall very quick. High Noon does get popped by Shala, but finds nothing as there's a Diva Matrix, a Maywall, and a Reinhardt shield in the way. Goblin point blank on top of this point, raining in rockets, and Boise State will collect the point. Now, second point, Kings Row, is where Pharah looks very, very good along these rooftops.
Yeah, there's so many places to hide here, Yelk. I know you play a little Pharah and you love pulling it out on the Kings Row. He's got his ultimate as well. A lot of great spots. You can drop that down a window once again. And Coalescence Lift is all we're really going to be seeing from Midland coming up here. They're going to have to charge those and try to engage early with them.
That they are. Goblin sets himself up for the barrage, able to find Executi, but gets taken down by Chatter. Noro, in the meantime, did find a kill on the Guac, so the front line of Boise is looking a little shaky. The res comes through, but it's not going to make a difference as 3 Broncos quickly fall. Plato has charged up that Blizzard, and it looks like the only thing that Midland can really do is hope for Chatter to eat it, but you really can't rely on that. How are they looking to stay alive in this next fight?
It's going to be difficult for sure, but either way, it's looking like Boise might be able to break out of this, but all those ults I was talking about before, Midland has now charged up. They basically just ran in there and won a neutral fight. That was great. I love how this Midland team just rushes in, reckless abandon, and they all find a target to kill. Lift's coming out early, gonna find 2.
Gotta find 2, but it's gonna be Executi going down to the punch from Goblin. And that is, again, the hero you do not want to lose if you're Midland. This backline is so important. The Moira is crucial to keep the heals in the fight, and then of course if Executi goes down, that's your tempo. That's exactly what Neely was just talking about. What he likes so much is their engage and their disengage. When Executi goes down, you have lost your control over tempo in fights, and now Boise State, they know it. They're gonna step right into Chatter, and they probably won't let Noro get away, or at least not let him get far, as they could keep them back and win out this map already. 3 minutes on the clock. This is an insane Boise attack.
Bomb flies out, trying to close this one out, not going to find anything, but the remake! Find the Reaper. I don't care about any of the other kills. Boise State takes it on King's Row. 2 remakes.
Man, Kel read the patch notes and knows that diva positioning matters when you call that mech in. When it's overtime and they've got to get back on the plane, if you're standing right on it like Kel was, you're probably bound to find a kill, but talk about finding kills. Here is Goblin on Torb, goes for the flank Molten Core. I like how he sets it in that alley, and he just takes away everywhere they were going to retreat, and then Boise just aggress in this fight. That's a very interesting Molten Core.
He wanted that hammer kill right there at the end there.
Yeah, he was looking fierce.
He didn't want anybody following him on that one. He's just like, nope, I'm going through this building. No one's following me. Can't chase me. I got a mega. I'm fine.
It's kind of interesting to see how really high-ranked Torb players use that hero, where they put the turret, where they put the Molten Core, because that was the fight where we talked about they used the Bob, they used a Shatter, they were popping support alts. So we know that if Midland is going to win the fight, they're going to back up, but the Molten Core kept them from doing it. We're going to go to a quick break, and we're going to be back with map number 3 in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
Hey, Caleb.
I'm gonna just.
Are we on?
He said 3. I think. Want to just start talking? Let's start talking. Okay.
We're
Well,
in now. All right. Welcome back, chat. We're in now. And that means we're back to the Gladiators semifinals, which is an insanely high ranked game, probably around 4.2 to 4.4K any given week. This is between Boise State and Midland University. If you're just joining us, Boise State is up 2-0 in this. And this is also, if you're just joining us, a rematch of the fall finals from the last semester. So there's a lot on the line in this game, ultimate bragging rights, and it seems like Boise State isn't conditioned to claim them this map.
yeah, Boise's mad and Boise's angry. They took it to Kings Row and absolutely, I don't want to say speed run. But they had a great defense and they took it with like 2 or 3 on attack. They were almost flawless on their attack, I would say, except for the first fight. Boise looking better than ever. They've dropped 1 map this season. I don't think they're looking to drop another one unless Goblin wants to do some funny stuff. But the problem is Goblin doing funny stuff is where he excels. So it might just be them looking better than ever. So
yeah, Goblin has played 5 different heroes this game. Last game getting a lot of time in on Farah on the attack, really letting us know why that's such a good hero to pick on second point. Kings Row with those rooftops pretty much can engage with a free rocket barrage anytime you've got it and find some kills. It's been just a team effort from this Boise State team. We've seen humongous plays from ACU on the Baptiste. I think they've been one of the key difference makers so far today. And then also Guac on main tank, when they were playing double bubble, had pretty much perfect timing on his Winston dives to clean up kills onto the backline, onto the most important Midland targets.
yeah, like you said earlier too, when they played that double bubble, Goblin was on Farah. He would kind of poke the back line, get some of those resources out. They'd probably call when a nade went or anything like that. Didn't quite have the peel for the Ana, and then Guac could just go in and do his thing. But yeah, Guac loves playing the double bubble. Looks more than comfortable on Reinhardt. Showed it on Kings Row more than a few times. But if they get a chance to play double bubble, which I would imagine on first point attack, they're going to pull it out. That's my own analytic brain is what I think they would do if they were Boise State.
Third map of the day, of course, being the Assault game mode. Some know it as 2CP. We're going to Temple of Anubis. One of my favorite maps in Overwatch, definitely has been for a long time, and that is a very controversial opinion. Sometimes the knives go out at me when I say that, but I think first point is one of the most fun points in Overwatch because it's one of the most strategized points in Overwatch. We've seen it in Overwatch League, people putting Orisas up on top of high grounds they have no business being on, using Maywalls to get up, Widowmakers wrapping all the way around to the attacker's side when they're defending. There's some crazy things you can do on this first point. And then second point is just a Thunderdome. Nearly, I'm looking at Goblin, and I'm thinking that this has to be his favorite map ever.
It's gotta be. I mean, I'm shocked he's not on the Bastion. I think I saw him ask for a Bastion mirror for the last map. Well, what they would assume is the last map. It's not technically gonna be the last map here 100%, but I know Goblin's looking to make it that way, and he's gonna be on this Junk's best point. But as you said, this is a very well strategized map, and it's a very good double shield map, and they're going to go for the Zenyatta instead of the Mercy for that extra spam damage.
Boise State looks to be on exclusively comfort picks here. Guac back on his Orisa, Cal onto the Sigma like he was in the fall semester, and then Midland breaks out the double bubble of their own, coupled with a Widowmaker and a Tracer. Early dive comes in from Nora, but he will back off and find Plato on the way out. A very successful first look at the attack here, but Nora has to be careful. Goes right up to Goblin and gets concussion mined very low, but still has some HP left to play with. Now they've got what set up? Nearly, this is an angle Widowmakers can take, and if uncontested, they can do just that. A large bagel goes down. Now they're stuck in those rooms. How do you get out?
Well, that might be one way. They took down Noro, and that is their main piece of engagement. Now they're just going to have to stand on point without a main tank, which they can do because they have the picks, but Guac now going to be stepping back out, trying to take this space. This is where double shield could look very dangerous for Midland right now. Shiloh, though, going to find Plato, and that might put a nail in the coffin here for Boise.
The Nano Boost does come out on the Winston too, and the Nano Boosted Winston goes right in, does not care about your shields, does damage through them, and we see Noro now just extending his stay closer and closer to that Boise State spawn, but they'll back off. Chatter and him keeping their distance for now as they've charged their ultimates up, and now Midland are sitting on a very good combo, Graviton Surge plus the Pulse Bomb.
Yeah, they're going to have Winston's ultimate as well to try to keep him alive. Maybe a little Widow Sights, just in case you were curious where everybody was. But Goblin with the Riptire, so many great places to use this to swing a fight that looks dire back.
Pops the Riptire now, just taking a road trip around the point, but gets bursted down by Shiloh. While casting that Riptire, Goblin was taken down himself by Chatter, and it seems like Midland have a firm footing on this objective, already taking a tick, 45% captured, 5 minutes left to play in a very successful first attack. They may not finish it off, though. The Supercharger does get put down. Midland able to take that second tick, but the Broncos, they start to find a couple of kills. They've got 2 members of Midland down. Tracer now making their way back into the fight is Shiloh, but Midland, they back off for a few brief moments as Sky falls. That should be the signal for the full retreat, but Noro doesn't want to give up just yet. He will eventually fall to the final blow from Glock.
Goblin yet again onto another hero. Looks like he's gonna make the swap off of Tracer, but he came out and found 2. One of the biggest picks he found was Chatter on the Zarya. High charge. That is a ton of your damage in this double bubble comp once you get to the objective. Takes him out, and then I don't actually remember the other character he took out, but once you get 2 picks on 2 CP defense, you can just slowly play your cards out correctly and just take the point back. But now a double bubble, no. Kel is still on the signal because of Flux, and he's gonna use it early.
Yeah, very smart, keeping that Flux, using it early, taking down Execute. He should just get them this fight. Really, Midland only has the Pulse Bomb and a Nano Boost to work with. I wouldn't imagine they aggress with that 4 versus 6, but Boise State not holding any punches either, now that they've got a more mobile comp. Glock and Plato go right up to those spawn doors, it seems, and they're letting Midland know that they're awake now. It seemed like they were sleeping on that first push, but now Boise's on a new look, and they're looking to do tons of backline damage, just like they've been doing successfully all game.
Yeah, Boise is 0-2 on playing Orisa so far. Hasn't gone well, but Plato dives into the backline, or should I say front line, takes out both tanks early, and Goblin cleans up the rest.
That was an insane dive from Plato right there. Got 2 kills without even using the ultimate. Pretty much used it to escape, but really just kept filling the kill feed from there. It seems like this is a Broncos lineup that uses the Reaper, uses the Doomfist to engage insanely early on the way into this second point. It seems like this journey can just be a little too long for Midland, but they only have to take 1 more tick.
Yeah. Plato drops in, takes out what? Very early. That drop down from Plato is going to be devastating, but now the Nano Boost going on over to Noro. He's just going to pin right in there, but Plato in the backline finds Shiloh. It seems like Plato's just lost back there, and he's finding everybody on the side of Midland.
Yeah, Plato's looking a little bit like a meatball right here, lost in the sauce. Does go down to the Baby Diva. Chatter able to find 2, despite not having a mech. Just a little bunny blaster is enough to deal with the DPS from Boise State, but again, just a reset. 2:20 left on the clock for Midland to find their way.
Yeah, little bit of time here left, but a lot of ultimates on the defensive side of Boise. This is going to be devastating to push in on. Midland's going to have to go for a dry fight here. You're playing into this lift that's going to come out early. It's going to find 4, puts him down. Immortality going to keep him up for now. Rally now coming out from a large bagel, and a huge Death Blossom finds 5 from Goblin. Yet again onto another hero. Should have talked about it already, but how many is that so far here, Yelk?
That is the 6th hero of the match so far for Goblin, almost as big as that kill feed he just filled up. And you can see there how Gravitic Flux comboed with a Death Blossom. When that Flux is big and gets everyone to half HP, gets the Immortality field out from Sky, Goblin is just a kid in a candy store when he's got that DPS ult.
Yeah, he had that rally going in, and Reaper, he might get stunned out of it, but he's not going to die. That is for absolutely sure. And all they're going to have, though, now in the defense is Window and the Primal Rage. Big Shatter finds 3, but finding nobody in the kill feed. As I say it, 2 are going to go down on the side of Boise.
Yeah, you get a large bagel out of there. You take down that stun. You finally got some wiggle room to make some plays with this Doomfist, with this Reaper, and Midland able to do just that. 93%, have to finish off the map, though. Boise State is going to be coming out with ultimates. Primal Rage gets popped by Guac. Kel is back in the mix on a Wrecking Ball, but only for a flash, as he is flashed by Shiloh, and it seems like Midland have enough to lock this one down once they've dealt with ACU and once they've dealt with Goblin.
They're trying to deal with a large bagel right now. Fire Strike's going to snipe him out, and Guac not quite going to make it to the objective. I'm just waiting for us to get Caster cursed here, Burke. I feel like you've been asking for it. You've been pretty on the nose, though, when you're calling the ends of fights. But I'm like, I don't know. They're coming out, and it's Boise State. You never quite know. But 43 seconds on the clock. Boise doing a good job to get Midland under a minute, which is always very important here on 2CP.
Gladiators is definitely the division that Casters curses me the most, because these teams are just thinking at an RPM that I can't even fathom. Like, I think the fight is done, and then 3 ultimates will get used by the team that I think lost, and they're right back in it. So it happens all the time, but tonight's been good.
Yeah, tonight's been on point. I felt like for a while we had like a few week record going of like, and that's going to be the wait.
We did.
Wait a second. We need to cast again. But
yeah, we definitely did. We had a very long spell of bad luck. I think it was about 3 games long where we couldn't get anything right. But this one, for the most part, has been a little more predictable.
Oh, Chatter was on Roadhog for a second. I was like, are we going to get to see the 0.6 damage buff onto Roadhog? Not quite going to see it. But
well, it seems like these Diva players are able to just get so much done with those rocket boosters. Like, they're always getting involved in the exact right part of where the fight is taking place. Roadhog is one of those heroes where, I mean, you kind of throw the headphones in, play them when you solo queue on ladder, and you can pop off, but 4.4k, 6 versus 6 teams that are playing together for a year, that is not where you find a lot of room out there on Roadhog.
And anyone on the roster could just pick Ana at any time and just ruin your day.
Oh,
yeah.
What? FPS on Twitter. Give him a follow. ACU probably won't after this one gets sat down early by the headshot up from the crow's nest.
Yeah, now this is just going to kind of be a slow fight. They're just hanging out in these side rooms. Diva Chatter actually trying to cut off the rejoining. I don't even know what it's called. I was going to say recontest, but ACU just going to have to make it through this little hallway here, waiting for Guac to put the shield up.
Wow. One was not about to let ACU through for free. Really had to coordinate that shield with Guac and the Matrix from Kel just to get that Baptiste through. Goblin does go down early. Boise State struggling to attack this first point. We saw a little bit of this on Kings Row, and I really do think that Midland is a team that looks very strong on these control-style maps compared to Boise, and this is definitely a map, one, that they need to take in order to keep their season alive. Boise State is up 2-0 in this first to 3, but I think these control-style maps are what Midland is looking toward as their most likable wins.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised they aren't playing double bubble on the side of Boise right now, but Guac's just going to pin right in there, get right in Noro's face, backs him off to point, but Kel going to find Shiloh on an off angle, and Chatter's going to get demeched by Goblin and put away.
That duel between Chatter and Goblin was fueled by pure ego, and in the end, it was going to be Goblin coming out on top. And it seems like Boise State, as I said, they were struggling. They were really just charging up ultimates. They use them there, and they take the first point, or at least a tick or two.
Pretty sure we can also make that 7, Goblin finding his way onto Widowmaker. I'm losing track of what characters he has played. I don't think Widow was on that list. Either way, he's on it, and he's lighting up the kill feed, looking good. Goblin, probably the most flexible player out of these 12. I don't even think that's even a big of a statement.
No, I don't think there's any contention in that statement. Goblin is probably the most flexible player in the Gladiators division, especially from DPS. That is the role that has the largest hero pool, and he seems to make full use of it at the highest level possible on an undefeated team that's only lost a map, that is currently making their way into second point, that is currently zoning away Midland with a May Blizzard. They've pushed him back into the black room, but it's got to be Midland coming out on top with the kills. Boise State had a lot of confidence once that window went up from ACU. They thought their damage was going to be powered up as much as it needed to be, but Midland stayed strong, bunkered up in that right side dark room.
And saved almost all of their ultimates. Noro is going to give up the supercharger, but it's because he's going to be swapping. I don't even think he needed to use that supercharger. I just think he knew he had to swap, so he might as well pop it out there. Now Boise's going to be in a position where they have to take a dry fight. There's almost no way they can win this neutral fight here unless this beat drop is absolutely gigantic.
Yeah, I think they're setting up for the dry fight as well. In the meantime, though, completely switching their comp, giving this second point a completely different look. As we said, it is kind of more like the Thunderdome of Overwatch. High Noon now getting popped from Shiloh is enough to zone out all of Kel's Matrix, which will be, of course, the fatal figure for Kel himself. Midland still just holding strong in this back corner. Boise State, though, charging up some ultimates. They're able to find that kill onto what, but it certainly won't be enough here.
Won't be quite enough, but that is the dry fight they were looking for, getting 2 ultimates out from Midland, the High Noon and the Window. Window, one of the better ults in this game of Overwatch, and when it's not in play, gives you a lot of room to push onto a point. They don't have something to just turn you away. He is already going to be to 55 on it because it charges so quickly, but on the side of Boise, coming up on just about all of their ults except for Goblin's Reaper Ult. And if they can charge those up, come in for the team wipe, could look really good here for Boise State.
It could. Now that they've completely changed their comp, they're finally starting to get some of those tools they need to be successful in taking this point, and they've got to do it in the next minute or so to keep it competitive. But Goblin goes down early to what? Chatter comes through with a quick dive enough to take down Plato. They're trying to keep this going here. Chatter back in the back line with the Bunny Blaster. If he can get off a sneaky remake here, it could find upwards of 3. But I don't think we're going to see that, at least not just yet.
Not just yet, but that fight was absolutely gigantic. Executing does use the beat drop. Maybe didn't need it, but they had planned to use it, so they're going to execute with it. But now they have 5 ults. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Everybody has ults here, Yelk, except for Goblin. It's going to be a big, shiny fight here, Yelk.
Yeah, try to keep track of the red and blues. It's gonna get confusing. Goblin goes up top, but is quickly shooed away. At 95 HP, High Noon from shallow zone to everyone on the Broncos out toward this right side of the point. High Noon canceled. The Broncos now able to make a move again. Like we said, there's a lot of ults on the board. Here they come, flying in. The first Diva Bomb from Kel. Riptire from what? Fire Strike finds 2. What trades out with a double kill of his own. Make it 3. Concussion Mine on the Goblin. Boise State not left in a very strong spot to continue their attack onto this point, especially with Kel falling, and Plato will go down as well. That should commence the reset.
Yeah, so it is going to be the reset. Chatter is the only one that's going to save his ult on the side of Midland. Goblin still creeping up on this Reaper ult. Not had very many long fights, so he hasn't been able to charge it very quickly. No way for a Reaper to poke for from a long range to charge that ult up. And Guac still able to save the Shatter. And if we could see a little Shatter Death Blossom here on the side of Boise.
But it's going to be a Diva Bomb from Chatter that goes in to start this fight. Zones off the Broncos, so they can't quite push up on this attack, but a big slam from Guac, only able to stun 1 that time. Goblin goes down, as does Plato. Broncos again without their DPS. Diva is demech. Chatter getting the kill on to Kel there, and Shiloh playing the very far back of this point in a very difficult spot to deal with behind that little Pharaoh statue, and it should be Midland holding again. I like how they're setting up this defense, really keeping their DPS in hard to reach places where every single fight they've had Chatter come in and delete the DPS on the side of Boise.
Absolutely. 2 windows on each side here. Whichever one is better could decide this fight, but one of them is probably going to have a High Noon coming out from Shiloh and Shatter from Noro. He charged it up so quickly.
And we see a lot of ultimates committed by Midland already. They've won Temple of Anubis despite there being seconds to play. They just had the ultimate advantage that last fight, and there was really nothing the Broncos could do. Midland able to work their way back into this series as Broncos now lead is cut to 2-1.
Reverse sweeps are possible, Yelk, and what's your favorite saying? 'Cause I'll let you say it here first.
Oh, yeah, as a wise man, me, once said, you can't reverse sweep without losing the first 2. And that is going to be what Midland tries to do today to keep their season alive, to keep their playoff hopes alive. And this play from Goblin, the one that found 5, that was pretty tricky to deal with on the Midland attack, but they ended up getting the second point. Boise State cannot say the same.
And I'll say the same. You're absolutely correct. This is looking like a good match. It always seemed like Midland had a few good moments from their team to where they could beat Boise. Boise looked beatable, especially on Lijiang Tower, looked exceptionally beatable. Not as beatable on Kings Row, but Midland, they got some fire in them. It's 2-1. Anything can happen. They win one more map, and it's going to get dicey here for Boise. They're not going to want to blow a 2-0 lead when all you got to do is close it out with one more map win.
Yeah, and just think about it. That is the second map Boise State has lost since the fall. They were beat once in the regular season by Fresno State, I believe, on a 2CP. And then they were just beat on Temple of Anubis by Midland. And I casted Midland last week. Chatter was player of the match. He came in for an interview, and he said that this Midland team, who were your fall champions and currently your 5th seed, they said that they underestimated the new level of competition in the Gladiators division. NECC definitely buffed it up a bit. And they got some losses. They didn't come out swinging as hard as they should have been, didn't prepare as much at the start of the season, thought it was going to be an easy road, and it wasn't. But clearly, well prepared for these playoffs, stealing a map against this insane Boise team.
Yeah, absolutely. That is always a feat, of course. And yeah, as you said, Midland was able to beat them last season in the playoffs. Gonna try to do it again here. It's gonna be a big hill to climb. Can't really mess up going into these next 2 maps, but Boise can't really mess up either. They don't want to drop another map because then they're going to be put on the back burner. Midland is going to have all the momentum. So if Midland can take this map, it could look very scary for Boise State, who definitely does not want to come in and lose in the semis.
And we're going to see them picking Junkertown after it looked like which payload map was banned on the side of Boise. They banned Gibraltar. Okay, interesting, especially for a team that I think likes to run double bubble. Probably very smart to ban that map. Going up against Junkertown, I think that allows Boise State to maybe use that double shield comp they like using. But right there, Midland looked very good at finding answers to it, especially with that Nano Winston that got them the first point.
Yeah, I mean, you say that Boise likes to use that double shield, but every time they've had a Risa on, they have lost the fight and promptly switched right off. So we're going to have to see, of course, what Boise decides to do. This is such a strange map because it's so open on that first point. You almost have to run double shield. And if you don't run double shield, you almost have to run double bubble. I don't really see a way you can run a rush on this map if the enemy team is playing double shield because you just get poked down at such a range. You're never going to make it there. But again, these Gladiators teams always surprise me with what they can pull off, and their coordination on rush is as perfect, is as perfect as it can be. So, they can make anything work anywhere almost, I'd say.
Yeah, they definitely have mastered the fundamentals, especially to get to this level. They've far exceeded mastering the fundamentals. This is a map, though, that is very open on the first point. We've seen teams pick Doomfist. Like on second point, Temple of Anubis, we saw Doomfist picked as well. That's a map that's very much like a Thunderdome. I'll keep on describing that point that way. First point, Junkertown, is the exact opposite. That's where we do see a lot of play from Widowmakers, and I think what made a very good case for themselves last map to be a Widowmaker player going into this next Junkertown map. They're probably happy to see Boise State actually pick it.
Yeah, I would imagine what has looked actually very good on the side of Midland all night. But also Goblin comes out on his 19th hero pick of the Widowmaker and absolutely show-stopped on the first point. So he's going to be a force to be reckoned with no matter what character he plays. And realistically, I think it's silly of us to even attempt to predict what Goblin is going to play.
There is no predicting what he's going to play. He will pick a different hero just out of spite. We could probably be up here and guess 9 heroes in the DPS role, and he's just going to come out on Symmetra, on Junkertown. You just don't know with him.
Yes, you really don't. I do have a guess, though, and it's going to be Torbjorn. I want to see it.
I like
Big
that guess.
map. Spammy. If you play the double shield on a double shield map, it's spammy. You can get a lot done, and Goblin knows he can get a lot done on the Torb. So
I think Plato plays Torb here, and Boise State picked this map because they finally want a pirate ship with Goblin.
Ooh, the 2 turret comp. One doesn't miss, and I'm sure Goblin doesn't miss all that much. So realistically, that's just going to be a lot of damage coming out. I want to see.
One doesn't miss, and the other's a Torb turret.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, one doesn't miss, and the other's a Torb turret. Good. Well said there, Yelk. But yeah, yeah, we said we weren't really going to guess, but Bastion.
That's a good guess. Yeah, Bastion or Torb. I think those are the 2 guesses. Maybe he plays Junkrat because it's like a home game, I guess. But I think Torb or Bastion is the most predictable look for Goblin. But you really can't guess what he's going to play. As far as the other members of Boise State, I would guess AC stays on the Baptiste pick. And I would imagine a large bagel actually plays a Zenyatta here because that orb, that long-range poke with no damage fall-off can really start to open up a lot of things, especially if they've got a Bastion or if they've got a Widowmaker. You can kind of counter that with Zenyatta jiggle peeking as well, get a little technical, but I do think we see that support lineup from the Broncos. And for Midland, I really couldn't tell you, except that I would probably guess they have a Widowmaker and a McCree. Other than that, I'm really not sure what this team is going to come out with.
Yeah, not sure at all. Saw him run out with a couple of things, but again, those are silly picks. I was getting excited. I saw some Doomfist and Wrecking Ball. I was like, let's go. Take it to the spawn door. But we're just going to have to wait and see what they end up picking. But yeah, I think we're going to be looking at that double shield comp, I'd hope. Again, I'm just caster's cursing myself as early as I can. Can just wait to see what these teams are going to pick. But looks like they're going to opt for a Mercy, which I actually like to see. You talked about the Zenyatta, and I was kind of thinking, but Mercy is a little bit better at helping out her snipers, can kind of increase the range that Plato can work with while playing this Ashe, which he was so dominant on King's Row. So setting up Plato on Ashe, I think, could be a really, really good game plan here for Boise State.
And we might even get a chance to see if Midland goes with the Zen pick with a relatively similar comp. Right now, as we get into this one, both teams are rocking with the double shield Orisa Sigma. Each team has a Widowmaker. One is Goblin, one is What, and then Plato is on that Ashe, but with a pocket this time. And it looks like the pocket will go on to Shiloh as well, but on the Hanzo pick. So a little more poke from Midland could help them in the long run here, but if it's plays like that, Plato finding the quick pair of headshots onto Noro, the Broncos could hold here for a long time. But again, both teams have the Mercy, so they will both res, and we're back at 6 versus 6.
You know, the old whoopsie button. Everyone loves to see it. Everyone's back to play. Goblin's gonna Shiloh right in the back, but gets answered by What? Good lord here, Yelk.
Yeah, I love this play from What, too. This is the most aggressive angle you can take. Clicks the dot of AC. Pinpoint accuracy, finds Plato's head as well. Come on, do it again. Give me the 3-piece. No, cannot win the duel against a large bagel off to the side, but Boise State is just too far on their back foot. Midland is relentless. Once What opened up with that angle, Boise had to play so passively that this double shield comp of Midland was able to take a ton of space. In the end, they will take this first point as well.
Yeah, What went completely unanswered right there. Ooh, a Flux coming out early right now from Chatter, trying to get some stagger kills. Will do it. Going to keep this payload rolling right along. They're even going to slap the old window down. Goblin's going to find Executing in the backline and Shiloh. Okay, Goblin.
Knew that he was not the best Widowmaker player in the lobby, and then realized that he is the most flexible DPS. Rolls out, finds the 2K onto probably the most valuable pair of targets. They are left with a Baptiste in this fight and both of their tanks, though. Boise State, they've got some staying power as well as Midland. I did really like that Flux from Chatter because, as you can see now, Midland has all the positioning here. Boise was not able to get up onto that high ground. What finds another headshot kill, this time on to Kel. The high ground was claimed briefly by Plato, but Chatter has his wits about him, closes in on this kill. Should be an easy duel for them, able to clean it up, but Plato did send out that bomb. That found 2 kills. Nearly right now, it's still anyone's game in this fight. The Valk gets used from both Mercies, and I really can't tell who is going to be the victor as Shiloh sends in that Dragon.
Blanc does put down the supercharger. It should create a lot of damage. They're going to have to use the Flux. Finds nobody. Can't put anybody in the big circle. Oh, God! Sky, mid-slam, just gets headshot by What? But
Sky was
played. Oh, my God. What is on fire right now, and that is exactly what Midland is going to need to take this map away from Boise.
What is res back in the action in a very good spot to be, too. Chatter popping this Flux should be enough to finish off the point here for Midland. Goblin does close in onto What. He's just had enough of his nonsense, but you really can't be that focused on the Widowmaker in the backline to keep this one competitive because the rest of Midland is not giving up much with this double shield comp and a pocket Hanzo.
Yeah, Plano going to be swapping over to the Hanzo to try to match the shield break. What? Going to go over onto the Soldier here. Bit of a disappointment, but Goblin did answer him 3 or 4 times on that Doomfist, and he was going to probably continue to keep doing it, and knowing that the ultimate was coming up was going to be another tough fight for What, but it's hard to see What switch off that Widow. He was so electric.
Definitely was. Definitely did the job of a Widow here on Junkertown. Goblin, though, every single fight comes out of the gate swinging his hardest, closes in on the Mercy, and takes down Nora with the slam. Everyone is fluxed up by Kel, the only final blow on the Sky. However, he does accretion down. Shiloh and Boise State will start to stabilize the defensive hold here, but it's going to be awfully tricky because Midland has a comp where if they get the high ground, they could pretty much take this entire third point.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is a great spot. The best spot probably on Junkertown to hold. It's very difficult to get a double shield comp in because you have to make a clean drop with your team, which of course Midland's going to be able to do. But either way, it's still a very tricky spot. Now the halt with the window. Going to try to put that damage down. Going to find one onto what? Going to get res right back up. But the rest of the damage from everybody else, including Goblin, is going to clean up Midland.
Anytime you have that resurrect coming through, that is one healer that's not healing at the current time. I don't think Noro thought that the Mercy Pocket was going to be leaving him, and unfortunately for him, there was quick work made of his health. Now Boise State has that Dragon Strike. They've got a Supercharger coming online for Guac. ACU has a Transcendence to bail them out of pretty much anything. But Midland, they've got some combos too, enough to definitely get out that Transcendence and more.
Early Supercharger, early Flux, and the Dragon finds two right away. Asu also finding Sky, and the Transcendence is going to come out just to cap everything up. Chatter going to take himself down right there, and Goblin finishes up on Norbo. But a lot of ults used from Midland, but answered by Boise rather quickly. That's a big Boise fight win right there, Yelks.
It definitely is, and I feel like Midland figured out that this soldier was not going to get to the ground he needs to in order to be effective, and what is switching on to that Reaper, which we've seen work so well, especially when Noro is on this Reinhardt and Execute is on this Lucio.
Early Charger coming out with the Flux. This is going to be a lot of damage here. Yelks shield breaks, and Ryan goes down. Looks like it's going to be another tough fight here for Midland.
Boise State really just ulting so early, getting all of the tempo in every one of these fights, and Midland just has no comfortable way to engage. But this time around, it seems like Boise won't have so many weapons to throw at them. Mech comes through, looks awfully dangerous, but Boise coordinates around it, sneaks away, and they're just using Chatter for ult charge. They knew that Chatter was thinking that he was going to re-mech get a big kill, but instead, that's 600 ult charge. That is a lot.
Yeah, you normally would never see these players go for that remake just because they know what's going to happen. But with the new change, you go, hey, I mean, maybe I get two. And then my team rushes in. You never know. Speaking of rushing in, though, here comes Midland.
Yeah, it didn't look like Boise was ready for that. They send one into the backline, but Plato does not miss the headshot. Instead, it is Midland. While everyone is turned around, they come through with 4 quick kills, but it looks like they're going down one by one as a large Bagel with very good positioning takes down Chatter and Execute before falling himself.
Those are huge picks to get in a lost fight. It kind of keeps Noro on the point. They can't really push up, and they might even have to push back if Boise gets out quick enough because the spawns are almost even at this point. But as I say, Lucio's always there to speed everyone from Midland back.
Boise State would love the hold here. They're up 2-1 in this one. A defensive hold before third point would just set their win condition for the map. So it's going to be Plato and Kel opening up with 2 kills, make it Plato with a 3rd and a 4th. As he takes down Execute and Chatter, it's looking like this defense remains in very strong position with a minute left. They're coming up on a lot of ultimates. They don't have them yet. ACU pretty much has that Transcendence, but they will have them for the endgame.
Yeah, absolutely. Noro does have the Shatter, though. Man on the clock. Gonna have to get it through 2 shields, which is always very difficult. But even though I say it's difficult because 2 shields, a lot of them are kind of stationary. Sigma has a long cooldown, so it could create a lot of room here for Noro to find one.
I like the Midland rotation, but what does get caught out by the headshot from Goblin, boosted up by the damage orb, or the Discord orb rather, and it seems like Midland, they're not out of this one just yet. They've got to stay alive through this Gravitic Flux. The Dragon Strike gets sent through as well, and it just looked like Boise were ready with the ultimates. They're still sitting on that Supercharger from Guac as he comes out of spawn. Anyone trying to contest here from Midland is going to be met with an awful lot of damage in the next 5 seconds.
What? Gonna try to get the touch here on Tracer. Should be able to do it. Gets lit on fire and absolutely cut down by Asu. Diva Bomb coming over the top, trying to find anything. Not quite going through. The window is here. They're trying to make a fight out of this, Yelk, but you might have already called it. Goblin gets shattered up, but not taken out. And hey, Bob, do something.
Boise State just ready for that final fight. Had so many ultimates prepared. They knew they were going to get the full hold. or the full hold on third, rather. And that does set the win condition. Again, Boise State's up 2-1 in this. If they can just push this payload past the second point and then another 92 meters, they're going to be moving on in playoffs.
Absolutely. And you and me have both called Junkertown one thing, and that is the indefensible map. Boise finds a way to do it. They got
Turns out you just have to ult like 10 seconds before the other team even like walks into the point, and you can shut them down. But that was aggressive defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so good about that double shield comp, though. All of the ults just build on each other. Supercharger charges everybody's ultimate. A Flux gets them all half. You kind of get a good team wipe. Charges up some ults. Window, great for charging ults. You throw a halt into that, everybody gets damage onto it. It makes it so easy for your Ashe to charge up quick bombs. I didn't even feel like Bob was that much of a showstopper as much on this map as he was on King's Row. I know I'm talking about Bob like it's its own character, because it basically is, Yelk. It's its own little... He's in his own little world.
It's been out there and shot the things it needed to win a couple of fights so far for Boise State. Definitely out there playing like a player, trying to boost its own stats, doing a pretty good job. And I'm looking at Boise right now. Goblin opting to duel out with the Widowmakers here against what? I don't know if that is very well advised, but Midland on the other side of things is going to go for the point blank hold the spawn door strat, as this is their last effort in the game.
I do love this strat. Sky got to find Plato right away, too. What? Isn't going to be holding the spawn door, though. He's going to be holding way back and finds Asu with the headshot. What? I want to know how many shots he has truly missed when he's in the clutch mode, when he's like, I'm going to hit the shot, boom, and he just seems to always execute on that Widowmaker.
He does, and I love what the rest of his team is doing while Boise tries to close in on what? Boise having a tricky time getting an angle on this room that Midland is bunkered up in, but they're able to find kill after kill now as they... It looks like they sent around Kel to this staircase that Guac is currently on, and they really opened up the angle there with the Sigma Fire, and now Goblin doing exactly what we thought, Neely. He's on the Bastion. They are pirate shipped up.
This is what we play for here at the NECC here, Yelk. A little Bastion on the cart, but as I said, look at Goblin. He's on the far right side. He's looking to catch a few people on surprise, but he's going to have Kel to back him up a bit.
In on this off angle, the one that was being very aggressive around, but it is going to be the res coming through, and now Boise find themselves in a 4 versus 6 bout. Gotta stay safe here around this car as what has those sight lines. Almost able to click down Asu, but doesn't quite hit the dot. I do like, however, what Plato's doing on this off angle, staying aggressive, but it seems like Midland is able to close in around these cars now and piece apart the Broncos.
A large bagel doesn't choose to invest that Transcendence. I'm not sure if he's planning on switching off or if he just thought it was winnable. Sometimes those fights that look unwinnable can be swung back with a big support ult, and that could have been what he was attempting to do. Shiloh gonna answer Goblin. There's a lot of answers out here for Goblin, and when you are Goblin, you don't want Shiloh to be one of them, because what has been so devastating on this Widow here tonight. But 2 ultimates on the side of Boise State. Those 2 tank ultimates along with the big window might be able to get staved off by the other 2 tank ults from Midland here.
And this doesn't look very good for Boise State. As you can tell, Goblin is having a tricky time finding what hero he should land on. Ultimates begin to be used now by both teams. Superchargers both traded out, but Guax goes down quickly, and Noros does not. Everyone on Midland is still amped from that Supercharger, and you can just see a truckload of damage in onto the Boise front line, kicks them back and out of this fight again.
Boise's going to have to find an answer here, Yelp, because as of right now, they're getting absolutely shut down, and all that momentum I was talking about that Midland could gain is looking to rear its ugly head right now. They seem to have all of the momentum, but maybe a little bit of a halt fire, excuse me, not a halt fire strike, but a halt window could look rather strong here for Boise State. That's going to be their big answer, but Shiloh might do the same thing with a halt dragon strike.
Goblin on the Tracer now, make that 8 heroes. This guy's insane. Dragon Strike gets let loose by Shiloh here, straight through the Broncos, but it seems like they're going to be zoned off and remain safe. Finding the kill onto Sky, Asu and Shiloh both go down as well. The Resurrect comes through and it's a 5 versus 5, making it a 5 versus 4 as Kel is able to find Nora. What? Finds himself in a sticky situation, trying to find some value before Goblin closes in on the Tracer. That body shot will help to take down Kel, but it doesn't seem like he'll be able to find much more.
Tracer seeming to be a pretty good pick there, able to stay alive, goes away from the poke style of this comp and puts some angles onto Midland, forces those snipers to turn around, makes BAP not look at the tanks, and opens up some space for their own tanks on Boise State. Now they're just going to try to get this first point. They're going to have to take Noro off this objective, though.
It's not going to be easy. They've done a lot to deal with what up in this window. Boise State trying to deny his value to win this fight. He will find the headshot, however, on the ACU. Goblin has to pull some weight, able to melee down and pulse bomb a pair of Midlanders, and it's going to be Kel with the final 2K here. They won't even need to deal with what. They just have to stay out of his sightlines for a bit. And it should be the Broncos capping this first point, putting up 2.5 minutes back on that clock for Boise.
Yeah, what was in a very difficult position. There wasn't really much he could do. He just had to look straight down. I know they say shooting fish in a barrel is easy, but in that respect, it is very difficult to get that angle on that Widowmaker. But a lot of ults were used by Boise State. They're still going to have a couple in the bank, and absolutely no ults on the side of Midland right now. Shiloh's the only one who's close, and it's not the most team-wipey of ultimates.
No, it's not. It's going to be very tricky for Midland to get a footing back out on this defense, especially with Goblin going in on this flank. Takes down Sky with the help of the Flux from Kel. But Kel, I don't think finishes that group of Flux as he's taken down by what? Boise does ignore those Widowmaker sightlines just for a second, and it proves to be fatal. Goblin, though, closes in, able to take down two, but throws his pulse bomb out and then jumps right on top of it. Unlucky for the Boise Tracer player, but it should have been more than enough to win the fight.
Just trying to get a soft reset, little reset for next fight there from Goblin. Didn't, thought it was over. Just, nah. Unlucky with the pulse bomb, obviously, from Goblin. But ever since he has swapped to this Tracer, he has been taking duels, winning them, and absolutely carrying on this Tracer. I would say they wouldn't have got first point on that last fight if Goblin didn't get 3. So he seems to be the X factor right now. And as it looked, Boise was going to get absolutely shut out. Now they're just full head of steam moving forward.
Yeah, Boise just 85 meters away from moving on to the finals again. Midland has to put a stop to this payload to keep their season hopes alive. Plato, though, rains in 2 headshot final blows to take down a pair. ACU collects the kill onto Chatter, and now Midland have to retreat very quickly. This time they don't have a Lucio in their composition to help them along, but they manage to get behind that final wall of Junkertown.
Yeah, they're going to start rotating around this, and they're going to gain that high ground that Midland never really seemed to be able to take big control of, but now Baptiste and Plato are going to both be up here. Flux coming out from Chatter, finds a few, trying to see if he can clean them up with the Dragon Strike.
Midland just trying to keep their hopes alive with these ultimates they're sending them through, but all that's been traded so far is an immortality field. Some insane tracking from Goblin on the left side of things, but Shiloh finds him with the Storm Arrow block. Pops that supercharge to keep the Broncos' attack going, but I'm not sure the amplified damage is going to help them through this one. Kel is really the last bit of a frontline hope that they have, and now they've got to reset with just 1:20 left on the clock.
Going to be a tough push here. They don't have to move it far. They have a minute. Kel is going to have the Flux. No tank ults on the side of Midland, which are huge for team wipes, but what is going to have Bob, and they're going to have Valkyrie, which is going to give them the sustain to win this fight, along with a Bob that's just going to get chucked into the middle of this double shield. Could be very difficult to push into unless Kel is able to engage exceptionally early.
Boise State attacking what? Looking to get a cheeky kill on the Goblin, but Goblin does close the distance, does some damage without dying. Kicks what off of this high ground. Now he's able to throw the Bob in. Flux, though, coming through now from Kel, lifts an awful lot up. However, they're only able to take down the Bob in the meantime. The stick lands onto Noro, and the front line looks weak for Midland. Boise State starts to close in. They've got 4 kills. The payload only has 4 meters to go. Make it 5. Plato with a 3-man visor, trying to end this one right now. No contest from Midland, and Boise State answers the call. They win the fall final rematch, and they find themselves in the final for the spring semester.
Huge fight at the end there. They were able to just charge up all of their ults. Ooh, a Zenyatta play from a large bagel. That's what you like to see. It's going to be really early here on the push for Boise State. Gonna just clean everybody up in this room.
Insane. Basically an extra damage dealer out there. A large bagel loves that Zen pick. Definitely a comfort pick. So Junkertown, pretty much a home game for that player. Neely, any players in this game really set themselves apart from the rest of the lobby in your eyes?
You know, we said his name all night. I mean, Goblin, I think would kind of be the one we'd have to go to. It's not that I don't want to say that he outshined his team because all of Boise always looks so strong. Plato looked great all night. Very, very consistent play from Plato. But Goblin just kind of the X factor, going to that tracer. And I mean, hitting pulse bombs that he needs to. His pulse bomb was able to take out the Arisa in the last fight and just open up the window visor to just clean up absolutely everything from Plato. So I'd have to pick Goblin for my MVP in this match, making so many swaps to get this win for Boise State.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that he is the pick in this one. I think ACU might have actually played the best for Boise State today, but they couldn't do what they did if it wasn't for the flexibility of Goblin, making it so they could play pretty much any composition. And when there's such a big patch change in a week of a playoff match where you don't know what to play or you don't know what you're going to play against, having a DPS that is that flexible, that can do that much for your team and also answer that many things that Midland is trying to throw at you, I think that's what makes Goblin the player of the game today.
Yeah, meta proof, as they like to call it. If you can play everything, no meta's ever going to hurt you as an individual player. And it's great to see it, as you've said, from the big DPS hero pool. But again, Boise State, not losing yet. Staying on top here, Yelk, with another win, but almost dropping 2 maps, almost doubling their map losses in a game this season. Not going to do it here tonight. Able to close out Junkertown.
Yeah, very good win from them. Midland did make them seem beatable. Midland is the only team, in my mind, that has ever made Boise State even look beatable. One, because I saw them beat them in the fall finals last semester, but
that'll do
also,
it.
Even when Boise State played Fresno and lost that one map, it didn't really seem like Fresno was making Boise look beatable. I think Boise is probably going to win the finals. I mean, they are the favorite. They've lost 2 maps now since the fall semester, so I don't see it really going any other way. But our next game of the stream is going to be that Gladiators Division semifinal bout between UC Santa Cruz and Fresno State Red. It's a 2-3 and a 3 seed. It's bound to be a banger. Neely is going to be casting it alongside me again. So chat, we're going to see you there in just a few moments.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch it.
All right, Chad, welcome back. A little bit before the next match, but we've got an interview on deck for you with Doc Haskell, the Boise State coach, pretty much the mastermind behind this program. He's got some talented players, but he is the big brain in the driver's seat for the most part. So, very excited. First chance talking to him. Pretty much one of the best directors, coaches in any program in the country. One of the most active for sure. The Boise State team, very busy. Right after their match with us, their playoff match with us that they spent tons of hours preparing for in the last week, they're skirting right over into another tournament because they just can't get enough. But with us now is Doc Haskell. Doc, how you doing today after the win?
We're good. We're good. That
All
was a
right.
lot of fun.
Oh, I'm sure it was. You guys were really out there with a lot of comfort picks today. Good to see Goblin back on the Bastion for some time and a lot of Junkrat. Does he get a lot of time on Widowmaker? Because Midland, they've got that guy, who is just a hit
Mhm.
scan god. And
Yeah.
you've got the completely opposite DPS role star, Goblin, who pretty much plays everything. But does Goblin play hit scan at that level?
He does. He pulls out a lot of voodoo picks, where he's just feeling the voodoo in one direction, and he'll try to get some value on it. Right. The danger of a gambler is that they have just enough winning in their memory to believe that they can do it every time. Goblin can get roll that seven more often than most.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. And Neely here was saying that he's one of those players who's basically meta proof. He's always got some hero pick that he can throw on no matter the state of the game. Neely, did you have any questions for Doc yourself?
Well, I was always curious when I was watching. I saw, they were going for that hard rush all the time, and at different points, you guys would come out with the Pharah. On Kings Row, you had Ryan with a Pharah. Why would you go for a pick where you're like, we're gonna let them rush into us, but we can play into that? What was your mindset with having them go out on those picks?
We have two outstanding support players. With the Pharah out there, it puts a lot more pressure on Bagel to have the success, right? But the way to win a fight is to go +2. You win at 81% of the time if you go +2. So how you get to +2 is the most important part. Uh, and unless you're on a 2CP where you've got to completely take that point and clear it to be able to win it, then getting to that +2 is the magic. So we were pulling out, especially on Li Jiang, right? Pulling out that Farah on uh,
On that
Garden to
Gardens
be able
Gardens,
build,
to,
yeah.
yeah.
to be able to get value, because we just have to get ahead, and then we have
hmm
to hold. So I'm very, very
I,
pleased with that.
I love how you put that. Get the +2. I'm gonna have to take that to my own ranked games. Yelk, you got anything else for him?
Yeah, definitely. In a game where it's playoffs, the stakes are high, and we're coming off of a fresh patch that throws a lot of wonky changes into the game. How do you prepare? Do you try to read the meta? Do you just try to really dial in what you've been practicing recently? What's it like preparing a team when there's just a big patch change in the game?
That's a really great question. We've got, Baz and Shifty who do such a great job helping us prepare. And the first time the patch notes come out, we ask not necessarily what opportunities are available, but what changes, what is more difficult now, or what is a little bit easier, rather than ooh, we could use this and do create this new. A lot of people get creative in the kitchen, but we ask
Yeah.
ourselves, how do we get to +2? Is it easier or harder? The playstyle changes with the BAP lamp, change.
hmm
But BAP becomes more effective on the big guys, right? Or anybody he can hit directly. So we ask ourselves, okay, so there's a slight modification to our playstyle, but the BAP doesn't go away. We saw them come out with the Moira, and while she does have some new things, but the playstyle doesn't change for us, right? So if we can keep the playstyle and we can play what we want into them, I mean, Midland's a great group. I mean, we have been preparing for a long time to be able to play them again, and we look at every little bit that we can get. And I promise you, there are a lot of schools that leave a lot out there that we can scout. Midland doesn't. They're well coached. They're super smart, and we have complete respect for them. So we had to come to a comp. We knew they were going to rush and brawl, and we knew how good they were on the May and the McCree. We saw the Johnson and Wales game less than a week ago, and
hmm
it's it took everything we had to focus it, and a little bit of Widow. There you go.
A little bit of Widow. Yeah, it definitely helped. Neely, I got one more for Doc, but I'll throw it back to you before I'll close this one out.
Well, I guess for me, you mentioned that how good they would be on that May pick, but we did not see much May here today, and I didn't see her in the patch notes at all. I read the patch notes. I don't know why we would have seen less May. Maybe it was due to the maps that we saw, but I was just, why was Reaper the pick over May today for a lot of the game?
A lot of it was map, right? A lot of
It was, yeah.
was the map situation, and we know a lot about their map selection success. We did everything to
I think we're having a little bit of trouble with Doc here, unfortunately. Must be windy over there in Idaho. It's fine
It's
on one
storm.
thing, dude. It's the wind. It's knocking them off.
I
Doc, are
gotta
you
get.
back?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Do you know where you were in the question before you cut
Yeah.
off?
So,
Awesome.
yeah. Really, why no May? Why more Reaper? And a lot of it was we know what maps they play. We know what they want to play into, and we do everything in our power uh, to select maps that we can really prepare for. We talk about it all the time. Which is more valuable, knowing what they're going to do on a map, or making your opponent uncomfortable? And the answer is the latter, right?
Mhm.
If you can make your opponent uncomfortable, you can create more mistakes. You can capitalize on those mistakes, win more fights. And this game is about winning fights. So if we win, if we can manufacture more fight wins, not to go Moneyball on you, then we like our chances in a game like this.
Absolutely. Got to win those fights. Yelk, you got one more for him?
I have one more for you, Doc, and this one's just more about the patch that came out this last week. So Kel currently leads all of the NECC in Diva remech kills. Is that something Boise was looking at as a possible way of finding elims? I also saw one time on Junkertown, you stalled out Chatter, who was trying to get the remech, maybe
Yep.
find a couple cheeky kills himself, thinking that he had that play, but then Boise just kind of zoned away. So what does that change kind of do? It really does change up the game a lot because a lot of these high ranked, well coordinated teams, they will stagger a baby diva. Is that dangerous now?
I think it is more dangerous for the team that is trying to get the remech kill, because how
Mhm.
long does it take our divas to remech if they're not charged at all, right? Even
Mhm.
if they
Yeah.
run straight up to a tank and just unload a clip or two, it takes a little bit. The reset time then gets doubled if they can't get a kill on it, right? It's most valuable in those last 99 finish the point, clear the point kind of
Mhm.
moments where
Mhm.
it could turn a fight. But when you're doing a stagger, divas, listen up, get out, just get out. Don't try to do
Mhm.
a cheeky remech kill, because you're going to get demeched again, and it's going to
Mhm.
be another 20 seconds before you and your team can group.
And
So
like 600 alt charge, we actually saw it charge up 25%. I think it was a large bagels ultimate when you were able to take that diva out and
yeah,
mech a second time. So
yeah,
yeah, I guess even though that's a crazy buff, players can't really be relying on those mech kills, but
no,
pretty
no.
crazy that we were able to see Cal find a pair. I'm sure he's real happy about that.
Kel is the best off tank that we have ever had, but he's also the best and the smartest off tank I've ever seen play. And we've played some really good teams. We're so lucky to have him and his teammates. But let me just say this. But Midland, perhaps the toughest opponent we've had over the last year, back and forth, lots of experience. We're going to see them again. They're going to require just as much respect. But we'll be interested to see what happens on the other side of the bracket now.
Yeah, I mean, we got that next game coming up between Fresno and UC Santa
Do you,
Cruz.
do
I'm
you
sure you'll
do you have a
probably be
prediction?
watching.
You got predictions?
Oh,
I mean, I don't want to spoil your rundown, but
am I allowed
you
to
got
make
predictions?
predictions? Oh, geez. I'm going to say Santa Cruz are going to take it. I'm going to go with a 3-1 map score. Neely, I'll let you
Ooh,
predict, and then Doc will hear from you.
Well, I gotta then go with Fresno, of course.
Of
I gotta
course.
go
yeah.
opposite from you, but I'm gonna go with the 3-0 sweep.
All
Why not?
right.
A little
Ooh,
bit
All right.
electric.
very good. So in that game, and I've been watching a lot of tape of Fresno. They're in our conference, so we get to play them a little bit more often. But Sugu and Tsushime, unreal. It's a great squad, but Sugu
Yeah.
is going to be the difference in that game. If he pops off, they win. If he doesn't, they don't.
All
There
right,
you go.
he'll definitely be the player we keep our eyes on. Do you have wait, did you say a map prediction or did you just sneak out of predicting a map score there?
No, 3-0. 3-0.
3-0? Okay, you did say it. All right, I missed it. All right, that's
For
fine.
who? Fresno?
Fresno, yeah.
Oh, let's go.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right.
no
So-
disrespect to the other. I think they're going to be a lot of close fights, but I think Fresno can close it out.
All right, we'll just have to see. UC Santa Cruz did get a win over Fresno during the regular season.
Yep.
It looks like actually, they just played them one time. They got the one win, 2-1. Bound to be a close game. Doc, that is all we had for you today. Thanks for an
You
awesome
guys
interview.
rock.
And
Great season, great broadcasts as always. You guys are fabulous.
thank you, Doc.
Thank you very
appreciated.
much.
Go enjoy the win with your squad. You got to get ready for the finals. You're a busy guy.
See you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
All right, see you guys.
All right, and with that, we've just got a few moments before we get into the next game of the night. Gladiators semifinals again, 2-3 versus 3 seed. Don't go anywhere.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
This is the beginning of something special, something different. The games may change, but competition and skill do not. Students coming together to represent Fresno State with support and leadership. Fresno State students will discover and develop their potential. From all walks of life, esports players are passionate, driven, dedicated, and bold. They'll train, learn, and grow together, striving to be the best gamers and future leaders in our community and world.
Rise up. Esports has come to Fresno State, and it starts now.
All right, welcome back, chat, for our second match of today's playoff stream for the NECC. It was back-to-back Gladiators division matches to start things off here. We've got our second semifinals in our highest division, our highest level of competition, this one between UC Santa Cruz and Fresno State. Fresno, the only team other than Midland just last game to take a map off of Boise State, but it seems like UC Santa Cruz has had their number despite Fresno having those nice stats. Neely, we made some predictions during an interview with Doc Haskell just a few minutes ago. You want to remind everyone what your prediction was?
Oh, I'd love to, because it was the same as Doc's. So it was 3-0 going over to Fresno State. And Doc coaches the best team, clearly got the best predictions, and he agreed with me. So I think that's all that needs to be said about that. Yelk, did you have something to say about it that was,
I was shocked he didn't give more love to UC Santa Cruz. UC Santa Cruz was the only other undefeated team in the NECC after playing everyone but Boise State, and then they played Boise and they got their first loss of the season. But I think this UC Santa Cruz team, they can hang. They can hang in here with Fresno State. Doc said the player to keep an eye on was Seguru. Have you had a chance to cast these teams yet?
I have gotten a chance to look at both of these teams before, but early in the season, so it's hard for me to remember everything. My prediction was before Doc's, and it was a bit of on a whim, so I was also shocked that he didn't give more love to this Santa Cruz team. They've only lost 2 games this season and they've gone 7-2, and they've locked up that second seed. They got to be doing something right, and they've already beaten Fresno in the regular season, if I checked correctly. And it was a close game. It was 2-1.
They beat them twice. Fresno lost to them once, 2-1 in the final week of the regular season, and then earlier in the regular season they lost 0-3. So every time they've improved today, if they improve any more, they'll end up with a win.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna have to see how it plays out here today. Not gonna be on Lijiang. We're gonna be on Oasis, a different control. I love to see it. Should be the double bubble coming up from both sides, and just straight mirror matchup here, Yelk.
Yeah, pretty much. One team going to opt to take the high grounds. That is Fresno State. Bully Hunter just making this ground his own up here as his team looks to set themselves up. Completely opposite rotation we're seeing from UC Santa Cruz on the opposite side of the point. That's going to force a drop eventually from Fresno State. Maybe there will be something left hanging up top for them to move on with the Winston, but it's gonna be tricky. Sushi Lover also almost goes down early as Bully Hunter goes to engage, gets stunned, and immediately takes 500 damage, but manages to find his way to his backline, kept alive by the nade from Robin. And still, anyone's fight, 6 versus 6 on the point. Superman sitting at 85% to that high noon, almost has it. That would be a shock if he was able to get that ultimate off so early. Ionic does go down first. Vasok falls as well to Sushi Lover, and it does seem like Fresno State should close out on this first take.
Yeah, this is a very slow fight. Usually this double bubble goes in so fast. Bully Hunter kind of taking the initiative, almost goes down, but then finesses a kill over onto Ionic to get the first pick here for Fresno, and they're going to take the first capture so far. That was a very meticulous fight, but no decisive winner for a long time.
No, there really wasn't, and again, today we're going to be saying it all throughout the stream. I'm sure the other casters that come on after will say it as well. We're on a new patch, so neither team really knows exactly what is the most effective thing to run, but interesting to see we are on a mirror matchup on this double bubble with the Tracer, the Ana, and the Brig to dish out healing at farther ranges. Maybe offer a couple of backline supports that are harder to dive, but now we see the Nano Boost come out from Robin onto Bully Hunter to lock down this front line, although EMF challenges up front. It seems like this UC Santa Cruz team is not afraid of the brawl. EMF just closes right on in, has that Nano Boost from Moises finally, after getting it late, pops that Primal Rage to take down MGCL, boops them all the way back and off the map, and it's going to be a retake here for UC Santa Cruz.
Great fight there from Santa Cruz. 2 nanos used, but EMF comes out on top. The bigger monkey in that fight, getting a few kills right there and a lot more value. But going to the next fight, Vasok's gonna have the grab. They're gonna have the noon on Superman and the rally. A lot more ults to work with. MGCL on the side of Fresno is the only ult they have, and it's gonna be grab. I would assume they would go for a dry fight here to try to win into a few ults.
Superman can combo this high noon with a Graviton Surge as long as it's set wisely to targets out in the open, but Vasok already commits it down low. Nothing really found there. MGCL sends in the grab of their own, and suddenly we find ourselves in a 4 versus 4. MGCL just looking to keep Bully Hunter alive here as they maybe try and re-engage on this fight, but currently they're getting pieced apart by Ionic on the outside. This rally that came out from Louis really gives these DPS so much HP and armor that these tanks can't really seem to cut through it. Still posturing around the outside is Bully Hunter, but he does go down as he faces too much damage from 4 members of UC Santa Cruz. Nano Boost committed now onto MGCL, and this Fresno State team is not saying die in this fight, still trying to gain some ground in what has been an awfully slow-paced game. EMF does get this Nano Boost in return. Moises still has some armor from that rally from forever ago. They were dived, but still, it doesn't seem like it was enough to get through all of that. We find ourselves with UC Santa Cruz still holding on to this point, but they're down Superman.
Yeah, it's a very... Again, these fights are very scrappy. They lose people, but they still invest ultimates to try to hang on. Bully Hunter coming in, trying to find something. High Noon coming out from McCree right now, trying to find anything. Gonna just cancel it to take out EMF inside his own bubble.
Sugar trying to find that kill onto Ionic. Found a nice flick shot headshot onto the Tracer for UC Santa Cruz, but wasn't able to finish off the kill. We're in Final Flight territory now if you're a fan of Fresno State. UC Santa Cruz trying to close out this round. Vazok and Moises both go down early, but Superman steps up with a flash and a fan of the hammer to sit down Sugaroo. Now it's Ionic closing in on the backline, misses the pulse bomb stick, but does an awful lot of damage in onto Robin. Robin somehow clings to that HP pool, but eventually will fall to the Primal Rage from EMF. Tank elements traded left and right, but the only tank left standing in this fight is MGCL and EMF. And EMF currently locked up in a grab, but there's really no threats left standing for Fresno State. They're clinging to this attack one final time, but a Sushi Lover gets shot down. UC Santa Cruz take the first round.
It's back and forth as that looked pretty decisive, 100, to 38 right there for Santa Cruz. That's about not as decisive as it gets, but that's only 1 point flip there for Fresno, basically. That's only one time they were able to have the point and call it their own, and then they just weren't able to retake it any other time on that point. But now we're on to a completely different version of this game. That's a double bubble map. We're going to be coming into Brawl here. It looks like we're going to see some May, maybe a little bit of Reaper. McCree is on both sides, but maybe a Brig. Okay, apps on both sides. I thought we might see an Ana of some sort there, but basically mirror matchups except for the Reaper and the May here, Yelk. It's going to be interesting because it's a great May map. Great choke points.
It really is. These choke points are tailor-made for the May wall and the Reinhardt shield. EMF closes in with his back to an open area of the objective. In the meantime, Fresno State bunker up in this right side room. EMF having a tricky time challenging these entryways, doesn't really find his footing, but it seems like they're just going to hang back and wait for Superman to hit a clutch May wall. Force Fresno State onto this point and then isolate a target. The May wall comes up as the Reaper teleports in, but the Wraith will get Sushi Lover out just in the nick of time. Ionic locking down this backline, able to take down the Diva mech of MGCL. Better watch out for that remech if you're on the patch notes. We've seen a couple kills already. The first flip comes in for Santa Cruz, but the Baptiste window used by Robin tries to keep the attackers in this. Still a lot going on. Moises and Ionic find a couple kills to try and lock down this defense. Vasok finds a third, and that should close it out here at 17%. One ultimate's already charged up very far. Sushi Lover in your top right corner of your screen. You can see they've switched over to the May, respecting that pick, opting out of the Reaper.
Absolutely. Opting off the Reaper. Too many good choke points. My microphone is back online, folks. I started talking. I'm like, Yelk, you're killing me here. But Superman gonna have the May freeze, gonna probably engage with it here with a May wall to trap him in. Here comes the May wall, shatter, finds nobody, quick block there from EMF, and the May freeze eaten right there by MGCL. Now pushing in is gonna be Fresno, but the shatter also gets blocked. Sushi Lover gonna go down, bomb, finds just the immortality field and the mech. Yelk, this is a crazy fight right now.
A lot unfolding on the main part of this point, but the front line left standing for Santa Cruz, and they will continue to have their percentage uptick at 60% now, sitting on both support ultimates. On the other side of things, Fresno State has this beat drop, and they've got a few more ultimates coming online as well, but a retreat to the back line from Santa Cruz and an engage with the beat drop from a Rigby closes in Fresno State, but Bully Hunter takes so much damage. Vasok with a swift dive makes quick work with Bully Hunter and Sushi Lover, and that's going to back off Fresno State for one final time as we near the end game.
This is looking so decisive right now. This is what Boise usually looks like when they play in this division, but this is going to be Santa Cruz, your number 2 seed, trying to make a statement, and they want to take it all the way here on Oasis. 92% upticking and a ton of ults to dump right into Fresno.
Really just so much to do with great Maywall at a great angle. Will angle off this Reinhardt. Bully Hunter finds himself split. The front line is nowhere to be found for Fresno State. Well, UC Santa Cruz has to make a move here, get some value out of this position they have given themselves. EMF Moises coming in with 2 kills. UC Santa Cruz trying to close out this map, trying to tell Neely and Doc that their predictions of a sweep were wrong. Fan the hammer onto Louis as it's Fresno State trying to stay in this one, but with overtime ticking down and just a Baptiste left to deal with, Robin doesn't look like they'll be the hero that Fresno State needs, and UC Santa Cruz jump out in front 1-0 after Oasis.
I mean, that is about as decisive as it gets, only giving up 38% of control point. It was all UC Santa Cruz the whole time, and EMF gonna get the play of the game, also looking rather dominant on the Monkey and the Reinhardt for both points.
The nano boosted Winston is just such a force to be reckoned with. Pops this Primal Rage and gets, who was that? MGCL, all the way from the point off the map. That is like maximum boop distance. Insane play.
Yeah. Takes him on a trip there, Yelk. Wants him to see all of Oasis. But quick little round right there. But again, Control doesn't always decide how these teams shape up through the rest of the maps. Gonna see, I always consider Control the deathmatch version of Overwatch, and then the rest of the maps are more Overwatchy, more designed around taking parts of maps and then securing them. But, you know, a little bit different here on Control. 2-0, looking decisive. Looks like Santa Cruz might just jump out to an early lead, and Fresno kind of looking at their hands right now.
They definitely are. They will get the map pick. On the other side of things, though, UC Santa Cruz, the victors of Oasis, will get a chance to ban one hybrid map, and they will choose to ban Kings Row, which is something we almost never see. We're going to play a different hybrid map for once in the playoffs, and Fresno will be the pickers of that.
Ooh. We like Kings Row here. This caster duo.
Reinhardt casters, yeah, we like it.
We like the Kings Row. But I mean, I get it. If you want to ban something where maybe you don't want to run as much Ryan May, you want to play that double bubble that you looked very, very good on, very practiced on for Santa Cruz, you kind of get the one definite, we'd have to play Reinhardt on that map. So maybe try to get them into a double bubble type situation, and Fresno maybe tries to get them on a different Ryan map, even though they look dominant on Ryan as well. You never know what these teams are really thinking.
Yeah, the options you have for hybrid doesn't really give you a lot of opportunity to escape a valuable pick from a May at any given point. Pretty much every hybrid map has a spot where she can come in and just provide insane value in these brawl comps. Gonna be interested to see what Fresno pick. We did just have a patch recently come through that really changes up the game. We talked a little bit about the Diva remake, now doing 250 damage instead of 50 before, so that is a legitimate threat if either team is running a Diva and they have that ultimate charged while they're in Baby Diva. But the change that interested me the most is it took one of the most powerful heroes in the game, one of the most, like, I don't know, the biggest utility DPS pick in Echo, where you can put her into a double bubble comp or a brawl comp, has an insane ultimate, and they changed her where her duplicate ends, she no longer gets that full second life. She'll be at the same HP she was at when she popped the ultimate. And I haven't seen any team yet run an Echo, and I'm wondering if that change is really that impactful.
I mean, it's definitely an impactful change, but you are right. We have not seen any Echo here today, and we have seen Double Bubble, and Echo and Double Bubble go together so well. Those jump and fly cooldowns are very, very similar. You always use them in unison. It seems like even if she was nerfed, you'd still maybe pick that Echo. But they're sticking with the McCree right now. Tracer's a mainstay. You got to have the Tracer in that Double Bubble to just kind of, it's just kind of how it functions. You get her on the flank and you just collapse on stuff. But either way, going with the McCree, McCree is very powerful. We do know that. So maybe it's just because McCree is just that strong.
UC Santa Cruz opts to stay the defending team, and we're going to be moving to Blizzard World for a hybrid. Another map that honestly plays very well to that double bubble. I would expect to see it again, especially on probably second point. It looks very good there to control that high ground that wraps all the way around. In terms of other things, supports, Bap Lucio, is that still the best look? Moira got a change as well. Do we talk about that? Do we talk about how Zenyatta maybe gets back in the game a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bap is still the pick. You know, we just had Doc on and he was talking about it. You know, your Ryan does get a bit of a buff there. Bap does do more healing on direct hits, so you're not going to miss a Reinhardt last time I checked, especially not in the Gladiators division. So I think, you know, Bap Immortality, it gets a nerf. I still think it's really good, but I could also see, you know, Midland going up against any of these other 3 teams with that Moira rushdown and looking really, really good. Boise just had great answers for it and is, you know, undefeated up into this point. So that's a hard team to run anything into, especially when they're that perfect. So Moira could see a little bit of play, but both of these teams looking like they're going to opt for the Baptiste. Please play Genji. Please play Genji, Yelk. That's all I'm seeing right now.
They honestly might. They've got some playtime on it this season, but Shigeru very, very quickly switches back over to the McCree on the attacking side of things. It seems like, yeah, very much what you said. It's kind of the previous meta we were in is what we're seeing today, and we talked about that during the other game as well. And I asked Doc as well, do you try to prepare and read a new meta, or do you try and just go with what you've been practicing for the last couple months on the previous patch and hope it's enough to get you by in your matchup immediately following a new patch? And from both of these teams, we are seeing that meta from the last patch come through on each comp.
Which makes, I think, a ton of sense here. They're very practiced on it. It's going to be really weird to play Sigma into this stuff with a Roadhog. It gets rushed down very quickly. And speaking of rush downs, here comes Bully Hunter, and he's getting walled off quick. EMF's going to get stunned, though. Keeps him right off of Bully Hunter. And then the Robin's going to use the Immortality first here. Yelk, this fight is, once again, very slow. Just kind of like that double bubble. Just poking and prodding, trading abilities. No kills, though.
Yeah, and this can happen with Brawl comps. Once you add a Mei, that's pretty much 5 seconds of invulnerability you can have if used right. And we see it there. Equates the immortality field of Moises. Bully Hunter will be able to trade out with Superman. Maybe that's what this attacking side was looking for. They push in farther, and they're able to demech Vasok. They've got to be careful, though. If that remech comes online, they can't be standing too close to it. Ionic does get that high noon well before Shigaru. And now we'll find the kill onto Sushi Lover. It looks like Fresno State will just recollect themselves and push back in again with a full team.
Yeah, Sugariru is going to have that high noon, and he's going to pop it early here, just marching forward with the speed boost, and the shield gets walled up, going to take out Vasok. Shattered finds 3, going to try to clean it up, but Immortality still coming out. Robin going to fall, Rigby as well. Ionic finding as many as he can right now, but then finds his counterpart of Sushi Lover on the Mei, going to take him out, but it's all going to be enough to win this fight for UC Santa Cruz.
They've done very well so far, but now they're facing the most dangerous ultimates for Fresno State. They've got that Blizzard coming online, and MGCL will have that Diva Bomb, I believe, which is a great tool to engage. We've seen one Blizzard already eaten this game. If both of these teams continue to run the Maze alongside Divas, we could see a lot more than that. That's pretty much like an underhanded softball getting thrown at you. And these high-ranked Divas, they have a pretty easy time with it.
Yeah, now they're going to be rushing right back in here. Bully Hunter gets walled up one more time. They throw another wall to try to help him out. Mayfree's coming out from Sushi Lover, freezing up Bully Hunter and freezing up EMF. Bomb comes out, but the shield is going to come back online. UC Santa Cruz taking all the kills once again.
That bomb was actually looking very dangerous, but EMF was able to turn around just in time.
Yeah, just in time, able to figure it out. But, oh, this stagger. Are they going to go for the remake? Nope, not going to go for the remake. But, looks like we're going to have a pause here, Yelk. Maybe some ping issues, maybe some technical difficulties. Either way, anything you'd like to take away from this?
Oh, it just seemed like one of the teams there was asking for a pause, but with the fight already underway, tournament rules say that you can't get the pause until the fight's over. So if you need one at the very start of a fight, it seems like that's just going to be a very long fight for you that's not going to pan out the way you want. Still, though, I think this one looks very well one-sided in the way of UC Santa Cruz, especially given that these teams are on mirror comps, and UC Santa Cruz is able to pull so far ahead. I'm pretty interested in the fact that we didn't get any sort of a meta read in this game so far. We are on the previous meta comps, where in the last game, Boise versus Midland, we were seeing compositions range very far away from this. Doc said a lot of it was due to the map pool they ended up playing, but we saw no May in the last matchup.
Yeah. Which I thought was very interesting, just because Reaper doesn't have a lot of range. I mean, to be fair, Temple of Anubis was on the last game we casted. Great Reaper map. I totally get why you play Reaper there. It's good on the second point. Reaper's a great pick. Enough said right there. But again, though, May, to me, it always seems like you get that wall pick potential. You can maybe make them switch off of Reaper, but it's kind of just tough to say why teams do certain things. Reaper does create like a nice stable team brawl comp, because when you push in, you have a lot of damage in that team. May does not bring the same amount of damage as Kree Reaper does. That is just a house of damage. May just sets up picks, but with the May wall basically, and splits the team up.
Yeah, she can set up picks or just keep your front line alive. If your Reinhardt suddenly finds himself without a shield, you can put up a May wall and just get him some time, buy him some time, get him back, charge up a shield for a few seconds, and then get back in the fight. That's really how May can elongate the breathing of these brawl fights with Ryan comps. But yeah, very, very strange how we saw none of it in the last game between Boise and Midland. We were seeing a lot of Junkrat. We saw Widowmaker a few times. Faraz. Goblin played like 8 different heroes, dude, and not one of them was May.
No, did not touch that character. Maybe he just didn't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who really knows? Also, we've both had quite the task today to pronounce the Fresno State's McCree.
Oh boy.
So I looked it up just to make sure. Suguriru. So going into it's a lot. I like saying sushi lover a lot more personally, but here we are back at the action here. Gonna get that pause undone. Hopefully all the problems are fixed up. But either way, tons of ultimates on both sides. I'm going to say more on the side of Santa Cruz, and they have looked dominant on this hold. Only a minute remaining going into this potentially last real big fight.
And a very early high noon does get zoned off there. Ionic finding no value with that, but does zone Fresno off for a few seconds. Shugariru, as I practice pronouncing that name one more time, is able to headshot down Vasok as they launch their bomb, but EMF shatters through the window, and that is enough to find Robin and Shugariru. And it doesn't look like UC Santa Cruz is out of this fight yet. They retreat around. They're going to go up this staircase maybe and take this high ground. Not done contesting the point as the Blizzard gets thrown in. Bully Hunter frozen up by Superman. Superman might have just done it, might have just kept this hold alive, but 45% was gained by Fresno. Worst case scenario, that is a win condition for Blizzard World.
Yeah, Superman living up to his name right there. Big hero play, and all alone gonna put that May ult down. What's he doing on the left side? The Tracer trying to get that late touch. They're sniffing him out, and they're getting rid of him. Ionic finds Sugariru. That's gonna be tough for the recontest ball. Still gonna be able to come in here and get a little tap onto the point, but gonna get pinned up by EMF early. High noon trying to zone Sushi Lover though. Gonna find Ionic. Faceoff also gonna go down. Immortality already used. Bombs out. Gonna need to be blocked. 2 things up in the way of that one. EMF though gonna find Rigby, and this is a dicey fight, even though it looks like now Santa Cruz finally doing what they had already started to do.
Yeah, Superman looking very stable alongside EMF, really not leaving the main tank side at any point in this matchup. Able to wall off this Wrecking Ball, and that'll close out the round here. A full hold for UC Santa Cruz. Very impressive as they look to take map 2 in today's best of 3.
Yeah, absolutely here. 45.3%. I don't know what radio station that is, Yelk, but either way.
It's not a radio station. That's way too low.
You know, maybe there's a lot.
That's a math test for a kid that didn't study too hard. That's what that is.
Absolutely. But either way, gonna be, they're gonna have to put up the walls here. Not even talk about May, but you're gonna have to put up a big hold here on the side of Fresno. You're really gonna have to do what Santa Cruz just did, but better, and it's gonna be very, very difficult. This is a nightmare of a first point, and looks like they're putting the walls up, Bert. Aw, saw Bastion for a second.
Yeah, it does look like they're putting the walls up. I would imagine that UC Santa Cruz sticks with the May attack and defense. Fresno State, I feel like they've found out at this point that May versus May, mirror versus mirror is not working for them right now. So I would expect for them to adapt their comp a little bit on defense to see if they can find some answers outside of the park.
Yeah. They're going to have to, but Double Shield is really good on this. This isn't like a wild comp. This is pretty standard. Huge sight lines for both this Ashe and Orisa to look down. You're going to be able to poke for a very, very long time, making it very difficult for a Reinhardt to push into all of this spam. But if rotated correctly, which I'm sure they have a game plan for this, if they can rotate it correctly, they can maybe avoid most of that damage, use the D.Va, use the Mei. And it looks like this Sim TP here, Yelk, one of your favorites.
Listen, man, I can't even begin to hypothesize where this TP is going to go. Ionic looks like he's going to line it up along the right side, and they're already in on this staircase. Fresno State seem to be ready for it. They respond with a Sigma Shield turn from MGCL, but Immortality Fields are traded out, and suddenly UC Santa Cruz find themselves in full control of the high ground. That worked to perfection, but it didn't kill anyone on Fresno State. They rotate around very safely and swiftly to this right side. Moises and EMF both go down. Fresno State. That was a big brain rotation to keep themselves in this fight, but a response now from UC Santa Cruz as
they're not done.
3 kills come through now. Yeah, UC Santa Cruz with some staying power here. Somehow they have to take care of Ionic on the Symmetra, and there it is. Sugariru coming through with the 2K.
Watch the rematch.
The tick was given up. They've got to step on the point. They've got to not lose this map. Bob has to touch in the nick of time as Rigby goes down. Still though, Bob should be dealt with rather easily. Vasok is demeched in the action. May Ultimate coming out as well. Vasok taken down from the boat as Sugariru on this Ashe is not giving up on Blizzard World. But in the end, it is UC Santa Cruz with a very fast time.
Yeah, that is lightning quick. You want to talk about a speed run? That is, that's Tokyo Drift right there. That is as quick as you can do it. And by Tokyo Drift, I mean how they wrapped around the map. Hit him with the old drift. But pretty quick.
Drift.
And it works.
Sorry, this was Doc's player to watch, and when I saw that 2-tap right there on the Louisiana Ionic, I understood why, but so far Fresno State hasn't been able to rely on him alone to get themselves through these first 2 maps.
Yeah, but hey, just like the last game we casted, it looked dominant up into this point, and then the tables kind of flipped, turned into a 2-1. The reverse sweep might have started, for that Boise State game. Looked like they might drop another one after, but they were able to clean it up. Fresno is going to be looking to do the same thing. Another version of the can't reverse sweep without losing the first 2 here, Yelk. So they're going to have to live on that mantra for the rest of this game.
Yeah, again, we find a team after the first 2 maps with their back against the wall. UC Santa Cruz has their ticket set to the finals if they can win a third, but 2CP is where it starts to get pretty difficult. That's where we saw Boise State run into a speed bump, actually a wall. In fact, they were not able to get past Midland, weren't able to get 2 points. So maybe Fresno can turn it alive here, because it does seem like as these game modes change, this May composition may be less and less favorable for Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. I mean, May is not good on every single map. Especially like the last one, last game we saw, they eventually went to Junkertown. Not going to be able to see that in this upcoming map, of course, but I'm just saying, you go to maps that are just more open, May's not going to find as much value, and if you build all of your synergy and all your team play around that, and you kind of get into an uncomfortable position, you might not have as much horsepower, and you start looking beatable. And I mean, Fresno's obviously not a bad team. One of the best coaches in the NECC predicted that they would win in a sweeping fashion. Not coming to fruition, of course, but either way, he has some faith in this Fresno team. But either way here, Yelk, I'm going to toss it right back to you to close us out here for an ad break.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just closed it out right there, but hey, chat, we're going to an ad break. We'll be back in 2 minutes with Temple of Anubis.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 Classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch it.
This is the beginning of something special, something different. The games may change, but competition and skill do not. Students coming together to represent Fresno State with support and leadership. Fresno State students will discover and develop their potential. From all walks of life, esports players are passionate, driven, dedicated, and bold. They'll train, learn, and grow together, striving to be the best gamers and future leaders in our community and world.
Rise up. Esports has come to Fresno State, and it starts now.
Welcome back. I'm Yel Krebs. He's Neely, and we've got map number 3 in this Gladiators semifinal here in the NECC series. It's between UC Santa Cruz and Fresno State. Santa Cruz up ahead 2-0 very quickly, making Blizzard World fly by, it seemed like. But now we're going to find ourselves on Volskaya after Santa Cruz banned Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be the time for Fresno to kind of get out here and make a change, because they really have not shown up until this point. This has been a dominant performance so far from Santa Cruz, only giving up 38% of any control point on Oasis and full holding except for 45.3% on Blizzard World. As of right now, Fresno does not have a full 100% cap on anything up until this point, and they're going to have to really show up and take these 2 points quickly. I mean, Volskaya is a great pick, Both teams generally cap both points with over 2 minutes. It's one of the more attacker-friendly 2CP maps, so could be good for Fresno.
It could be good for Fresno. They're going to have to find a way to deal with Superman, who has been the player to watch on the side of UC Santa Cruz. On the side of Fresno State, it's been really either DPS or MGCL's been having a fair game as well. But Superman's been playing May, and they have been not missing any key May wall positioning. They're hitting headshots with icicles, denying flanks, doing everything you need to do. When you're playing up against a May that does that, how can you answer it?
It's very tough to answer May a lot of the time. Usually you can maybe outpoke. You can run different comps that don't get walled off by May wall, as if we're going to see right here. We're going to see some double bubble probably on the defense with an Ash pocket, maybe an unpocketed Ash. It's always too early to tell, of course. But either way, on the attack, obviously, they're goofing around unless we want to get to see some Roadhog, obviously. We'd all love to see some Roadhog Genji ball.
I wish on this new patch we'd actually see a little bit more of them in these high-ranked games, but we haven't yet.
Well, I'm glad that we don't, in a way. I love seeing Roadhog in league play, but in my ranked games, sometimes it's a bit obnoxious to play into. So maybe nobody will play it, and I can then use that as a proving point to my friends. Guys, the Gladiators division doesn't even play Roadhog. He's bad. Come on. Get off Hog. Play something else.
I mean, you and I both play Reinhardt. If we were to see a Roadhog as our off tank, we'd be like, all right, we're holding up shield a little bit more this game.
Yeah, and playing into one is a bit of a nightmare sometimes. So, he just breaks so many shields. Oh my, let's go, Yelk. We're going to get to see it. They were not goofing around in the spawn. The Ball Hog Genji Tracer. We have a Genji. We're building for Nanoblade, Yelk. I'm excited.
This is a team that was like, you know what, we are not going to play a mirror comp, so we're just going to play something we know there's not going to mirror. And yeah, Sugu on the Genji, Bully Hunter on the Wrecking Ball, MGCL on that freshly buffed Roadhog. And they're going to just posture around this first point of Volskaya. MGCL in deep on this right side flank, trying to guide Robin in on through, and successful in that. Sugu falls awfully low, has to get some healing, able to get back up to half HP. And now we're seeing Fresno ready for this dive. It's going to be tough to follow up on Bully Hunter, and MGCL was left lingering in the back line. ENF makes quick work of them. Sugu dashes right up onto that high ground, but still, the HP is just dealt with so fast. Goes up for a second attempt, but shouldn't be successful here. Does find Superman, but it's just not enough nearly.
Not quite going to be enough. Superman finally getting found out here. I don't think he died on the last map, and if he did, the team fight was already over. So Superman getting found out a little bit right there. But yeah, MGCL is going to switch over to that Winston. I was about to say, with this double hit scan on high ground into an Ana, playing Roadhog is going to be an absolute nightmare. You're going to have nowhere to stand. You can't flank, really. They all know you're flanking. But either way, still got the ball, still got the Genji. That's what matters here, Yelk. We've got the Genji. 63% to his ultimate, but could get cut down by this tactical visor right here.
Ionic looking to make a play with that this fight, most likely. Superman goes down to the Wrecking Ball Slam. Vasok catches the Nano and makes quick work of MGCL. Trying not to be done there, but there's really nothing left near the point for him to kill. Would really love for something to fall into his sights. Rigby the closest thing to doing that, but riding along the walls and evading easily. Ionic, though, bursts down Sushi level with a very nice helix and finds Rigby as well. The blade for a last-ditch effort from Sugu. Finds one. Ionic goes down, but so much CC. They are not having any of that Dragon Blade.
Not having any of it. Gonna pop the Wrecking Ball. Ultimate Bob goes on an absolute trip into the lake. Oh my, he went high ground to high ground. Get this guy in the Olympics. Jeez, he can move. He's got some feet out there, Bob. He did something. Just nothing against the enemy team.
He definitely did something. He did a polar plunge is what he did. Unlucky for Superman. 10
out of 10. No splash.
No splash at all. Went right into the icy drink. Water didn't even make any sort of emotion.
Not even.
They've got to dive one of these high grounds, find a weak target. There's a group of 3 up on that top left high ground for Santa Cruz, but that's a tight grouping. That's going to be very tricky for Fresno to deal with. They go in now, but Bully Hunter does get slept before he's able to finish off on that slam. His team is able to find 2 quick kills. Superman and Vasok both go down. EMF trying to keep him in the fight. Has the Nano, starts doing some damage. takes down Sugu, and Rigby. Bully Hunter does go down to Moses as well. Not done yet is UC Santa Cruz holding first point.
Not trying to give up a tick right now is EMF. He's going to put that bubble on the corner, forced to push back with just a hair of his life is going to be MGCL. And getting close to another Nano Blade could be huge. Got grabbed last time, no grab to counter it this time. Ionic does have the tactical visor, which will be good to help counter that ultimate. But either way, as long as they engage with the team, this Blade could be gigantic.
Could be at 93%. They've got to get it online quickly, though, and now Sugu will not have this deflect when he pops that Blade. Gonna be very vulnerable. In fact, gonna be very dead. Ionic lands that Helix from beyond the three-point arc, and this time, extra points are awarded. But it's gonna be Fresno coming in with 2 kills up the road, make it 3. Sushi Lover doesn't want this map to be over just yet. Takes down EMF. They've got to deal with the Nano Vasok on the D.Va. Vasok able to burst right into Bully Hunter and take down that tank for Fresno. And they're not out of the woods yet. Overtime starting to take away 2 members of Fresno State on the point gaining percentage. Zoned off by a D.Va bomb that could be dangerous, but recall in the nick of time. Sushi Lover stays safe. Remec gets Rigby. We've talked about it all day. Sugu tries to counter with a Blade that finds 2. Can he get any more? He's half HP, awfully low. Finds himself dead to EMF. And out of the defensive spawn all the way back. And a road trip to first point is UC Santa Cruz, and they will hold it at 40%.
Well, needless to say, Fresno now has capped a full 100% of Overwatch percentage through 3 maps here. 40% or 40.8. Wow, I'm great. I'm super good at talking.
Another failed math test of a score.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Can't use percentages. Can't
Doesn't
say
quite
out
know
loud.
PEMDAS. What is it? Mempad?
Yeah,
I don't know. Give me a
something
4.
like that. Yeah. It's what I got on a lot of my tests. That's why I'm here
Like
talking.
class.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm here in front of you, not doing math.
Yeah, that's not why we're here. Wasn't to do math, folks, and say percentages. And granted, we read percentages every time we cast because of ultimates, and there's 12 of them out there. But the 0.8s, that's where it really gets us. But 40% to cap here for UC Santa Cruz. They did it in their first attempt on Blizzard World. They were able to go in with the creative Sim TP strat and clutch out a fight that they looked like they had lost. Now they're going to go for the double bubble again with the Ash no pocket. Been seeing a lot of Ash no pocket. I do wonder what's up with that. I think it must just be the coach gun to the high ground. Coach gun's very strong against dive. Maybe they're favoring that over the Kree a little bit because usually Ash without a pocket isn't considered very strong.
No, and maybe you can combo your dives with that double bubble with an Ash Dynamite.
Yeah.
Maybe her range is a little more valuable in this composition than a McCree. McCree has to be closer into the fight and is much more vulnerable once he doesn't have that stun. So maybe that's why we see this Ash. If Superman is able to get up on one of these high grounds and control it, it's going to be very hard to kick him off.
It's going to also be very hard for him to get to. He's going to be kind of rotating out right now. TNT not going to find anything. But everyone's playing slow, looking through the window in that mini room, just saying hi at this point. Slowly walking around as EMF. Doomfist going to take the high ground here. And it's just a slow fight. I love these slow fights from the double bubble. No one thinks they just have to go in and forfeit their life for nothing.
Yeah, you can really see how these double bubble comps are actually brawl compositions, and you can even see it with the DPS as well. Reaper and Doomfist really can't get up on anything too quickly or too sneakily together. Doomfist obviously can get in fast, but his precision really isn't that great. So we do see these brawl comps just take their time as they get through these chokeways using pretty much all of Winston's shield. A sleep dart that catches Superman will not result in a kill.
Punched, but the bubble from Vasok was unbelievable. I thought he was all but dead right there. Either way, he's going to survive, and he's going to use that TNT to get a kill. Nano Boost coming out onto EMF here. He's been electric with it so far tonight, and he's going to be diving right in, trying to get a little bit more value.
That is 3. That is 4 down for Fresno State. UC Santa Cruz trying to close this one out and punch their ticket to the finals. EMF currently grabbed up, locked up, but Louise is going to be there to find the final 2 kills in this one, and UC Santa Cruz proves us both wrong. It wasn't a 3-1 in their favor. It wasn't an 0-3 in Fresno's favor. It was a clean sweep from Santa Cruz, and they will face off against Boise State in our grand final.
Yeah, Doc, I got some questions here. You made me feel like I had a big brain for that wild guess that I made. And now Whew, that grab onto
Poor
the blade.
Sugu, man.
That's just your Genji, man. Your body's the ultimate, and they can use ults to counter it. Unfortunate. Hey, he's got a card, though. Well done on the Genji play. I was happy to see some Genji here tonight, Yelk.
I was happy to see it too. It seemed like he was his team's playmaker, had a couple of opportunities, but was just shut down by fantastic team play all game long from Santa Cruz on a couple of different comps. Really looking good on this new patch, I must say. Not taking a lot of chances on reading a new meta, just sticking to what they know on Double Bubble, and we can see exactly why they were the 2 seed. They looked fantastic all night.
Well, I think we got to pick an MVP here for Santa Cruz. I kind of got 3 on my mind. I'm curious who you would prefer to go with, but I thought EMF was extremely impressive, Superman was impressive, and so was Moses. But the only thing against Superman is that Ionic on that last map really came alive on that soldier pick as well. A bunch of all-stars here from Santa Cruz. Do you have anyone that was your favorite? 'Cause I think I would have to go with EMF, but I'm going to give it to you.
I was actually going to go with EMF or Moses. I know we talked about Superman a lot, but they are playing on that May, kind of a more passive role. You can't execute on that comp without a good May. They're clearly doing a lot for their team, but I think Moses has those nano boosts onto EMF that made him look as good as we thought he was tonight. And they did so good at just staying alive. We've seen how Double Bubble can take apart a support line in the back line. That wasn't happening to Moses and Luis too much tonight.
No, it seemed like they both kind of wanted to play that counter divey style in a way, just kind of EMF would just walk to the fight, you know? If anyone came back, he could just use jump to not die, just play it slowly, kind of just poke the front line a little bit. And usually with these double bubble strats, you do see, like we saw earlier on Li Zhang with Boise, they would go hard in onto that Ana with the bubble and the Pharah. But when you don't play something like a Pharah or you don't play that Echo, I think these comps start playing very slow. You kind of got let your Tracer get some work in on those flanks. So it's just played a little differently.
So I think we're in agreement then. Pretty much everyone on UC Santa Cruz looked good tonight, but I think most of the weight was pulled by Moses, doing a great job staying alive, healing up those tanks, enabling everyone to just do well around them. Support player of the match. We don't get that much, man.
I agree. And I definitely think he deserved it, but we'll be right back here with an interview with Moses.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
This is the beginning of something special, something different. The games may change, but competition and skill do not. Students coming together to represent Fresno State with support and leadership. Fresno State students will discover and develop their potential. From all walks of life, esports players are passionate, driven, dedicated, and bold. They'll train, learn, and grow together, striving to be the best gamers and future leaders in our community and world.
Rise up. Esports has come to Fresno State, and it starts now.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got a quick interview before we sign off our second game of the night and move on to our third. In just a minute, we're going to be getting Moses in here, the support player for UC Santa Cruz, who we deemed our player of the match. Neely and I were talking about this player pretty much all game long. They were going hand in hand. Every time we said EMF, EMF was doing something completely enabled by Moses. That's the kind of support play you need to go out there and do the job of a tank, which is make space. But now we finally got Moses in the chat. Moses, congratulations. How are you doing tonight?
What's going on, my fellow casters? It's going well.
All right, man. Congrats on the win. You 3-0'd. I predicted you were going to 3-1, and Neely here said you were going to get swept.
No, you didn't believe us. You didn't believe us.
He's a doubter. I'm not a doubter, and you guys, I know.
I was listening to the Boise State head coach. Can't get mad at me. I didn't just predict before him, but I had to.
Doc makes pretty good predictions usually, but
seems like a smart guy.
This is about you guys and UC Santa Cruz looking very strong going into the finals, going up against Boise State Blue. I mean, you know what you get with that team, and it's pretty much unpredictable. You played them one time in the regular season, I believe, and you were undefeated to that point, and then you lost to them. So how do you prepare for an opponent that is just so good, who's been so dominant in this division to this point?
We had a downward spiral after that game. A little bit before that game, some of our players, including me, didn't want to play Overwatch for a while. We ended up playing Apex. Apex was very good.
That's where
we recently got some new players. So we have Gavin, which was the diva we were playing with. He kind of revitalized our energy, and we came back to Overwatch. We trained, a good while. EMF he did a really good job, I think, and we really got our comms straight. Mostly the rotations on Volskaya specifically. The other team really showed us what they were gonna do, and as long as we got the rotations down the soldier and on the brig, I think we're pretty set for the full hold. So
Yeah, you looked
yeah,
untouchable on those high grounds on Volskaya first point. That was really impressive.
yeah, it
Neil,
went all well.
did you have anything you wanted to ask Moses here?
I do, because usually with these double bubble comps, I feel like they're based on some hard engages, but now we're not seeing as much echo played. So when you play that Ana to Winston, what is the goal that you guys are trying to accomplish? Because it seems like a lot of slow pokes, a lot of slow fights. I just don't really understand like what the goal is that you guys are trying to shoot for by playing slower.
The way, since we had the soldier on specifically on Volskaya again, we had the soldier. We wanted to rotate and just poke them. I believe they have the hog, and they telegraphed where they were going every time. So with the double bubble, we would first do a bubble rotation, leaking strats here. Do a bubble rotation, farm nano, get some of their cooldowns out. Hopefully at that point our Winston doesn't die, doesn't feed, but Zach's been doing a good job. And on the second bubble rotation, we probably have nano, or I would have it when he engages. We get the nano off. He probably gets a squishy, and people are just constantly poking. It's like a poke comp. But when we need to go in, we can go in on with him.
That's awesome.
That's mostly the game plan for it as of right now.
And that is what it looked like. I mean, you said leak and strats, but I mean, it looked like he just poked for the nano and then engaged on it. And that was your version of the hard engage. Do you got anything for him?
They're winnable, or they're like what they played for was for the nano blade, and we had primal. He got booped. He missed his dash. I was able to live for a little bit. We were able to sustain and stabilize. A lot of the first map on what's it called? I forgot the first map, but along the first map we needed to stabilize, and that's what helped us win while we were being aggressive. We took the high ground when they were defending. We stabilize a little bit, and then we drop point altogether, and we're able to full hold them. Or a cap there, actually.
Fantastic. Yelk, did you have any other questions for him?
Yeah, I sure do. Just as a student who's nearing the end of a semester where the workload kind of increases and you start getting into the playoffs for these esports leagues that you guys are in, you might be in more than just NECC. I know a lot of teams, especially in Gladiators Division, are. What's it like managing a schedule where you've got 8 hours of esports practice a week and that doesn't even count games and you're coming up on finals? What kind of workload is that like for you guys?
For our college, we're actually in the quarter. We're on the quarter system.
Oh,
so right now
nice.
we're approaching midterms for some of our players and students. Me, unfortunately, I don't have any midterms, or gratefully. But
Unfortunately, I was about to say.
I don't have any midterms, but some of our students or players do. So we're trying to work around that. A lot of people play Overwatch in their free time. But during finals of last quarter, it was really tough. We only scrim maybe like twice a week. But a lot of people kept up on the comp grind when we weren't able to scrim, and they were able to balance both school and Overwatch.
Gotcha, I see. And I've just got one last question here for you.
Yep,
So I asked Doc, the coach of the director of the Boise program, this as well. When there is a new patch that changes so much in the game, like Roadhog became insane if you're solo queuing on ladder, but those changes don't really transfer over to these like 6v6 team leagues. What's it like to prepare for a game where there is that fresh patch? Do you guys think about trying to read a meta? Was there any point where you thought about running a Roadhog maybe? Or was it just, let's grind the comps we've been grinding for the last month or so and try and come into this game like a well-oiled machine?
Yeah, I would say well-oiled machine mostly. Play what you're good at. We only had maybe one scrim coming into this match. We tried to experiment a little bit. It didn't work out, especially with the hog. Ana is really good with an anti-nade or a sleep, and we can just, again, the Roadhog's a little bit slow. We can just rotate around him or poke anybody around him. He doesn't really have any viability when the Winston is playing his bubble. I can purple him. He'll basically insta if everybody focuses him. And with the Moira changes and Sombra, so we try to play a comp that with Sombra Moira, it didn't work out either. The heals are a little bit too slow, so BAP is still kind of strong. Not gonna lie, I rather play BAP over Moira, and we were just really comfortable on double bubble, to be honest. And that's what we've been practicing up until now. If we keep scrimming and we notice that people are playing different things and they happen to beat us on double bubble, or the double bubble just doesn't seem to work for us, we can try out new things and see if there's a new meta, because we are technically meta slaves. But yeah, we just went in with what we were good at, and that was the double bubble.
Yeah, it looked very reliable today. And you obviously play the Ana, which, like you said, is the answer to the Roadhog. So there's kind of a lot of pressure on you if some other team tries to come at you with some Roadhog strats. Like, they rely on you not to just heal them, but also you're the biggest threat to deal with that freshly buffed final boss of a tank that he just became. But Moses,
Yeah,
just wanted to
I
congratulate
gotta
you.
rely on my brig to make sure, you know, my teammates help
Oh, yeah.
me. You know, if I'm having a problem, I can run into my tanks, use the Winston's bubble, or have our Diva or Zarya bubble me to help me out. So
You and Louis
as long
look
as
pretty
everybody trusts each other, and we'll play well. It's a team-based game.
Moses, congrats again on the win and punching your ticket to the final. You are free to exit the call and go enjoy the rest of your evening now.
All right, thanks. Thanks for the interview. Good luck,
You're wel-
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Neely, that is going to be it for us until the final game of the night when we are back to cast Fanshawe versus St. Clair. But our next game is Navigators Division, Fresno State Blue. You just saw Fresno State Red. Fresno State Blue, the number 1 seed in that division, will be taking on Concordia, Wisconsin. That's going to be casted by Infernosis and Nuclear. Neely, any final words before we give it to those two?
I got nothing for you, Yelk.
All right, well, that is actually going to be in an hour. I think I might have said it's in a couple of minutes. We're
Yeah.
going to do a little break. Our producer, he doesn't have the gas in the tank to stream for like 11 hours nonstop. So I guess he's got to get some food, get some water, as do the rest of us. But thanks for hanging
Yes.
out, chat. We'll see you real soon.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
This is the beginning of something special, something different. The games may change, but competition and skill do not. Students coming together to represent Fresno State with support and leadership. Fresno State students will discover and develop their potential. From all walks of life, esports players are passionate, driven, dedicated, and bold. They'll train, learn, and grow together, striving to be the best gamers and future leaders in our community and world.
Rise up. Esports has come to Fresno State, and it starts now.